No, you're not getting dinner. You're bad. No, you're not getting dinner. You was bad. So?
After she told her dog he wasn't getting dinner,
okay, so just relax your neck and we're okay, beautiful sound, beautiful crunch. So we're gonna you have a lot of fractures in your spine, so we're gonna unfracture them by just gonna okay, just relax your body and feel good? Do you feel good? You feel good? Okay, don't worry, I got you, relax. And just relax your shoulders. Oh, you are
Take a look at this fire tornado spotted above the Palisades fire this morning. This was captured by Air 7. Just a wild view there.
Why do these people want a piece of us? Those fools, do they want to see what we're made of? The United States of America, red, white, and blue, will rip your throat out, drink your blood, motherfucker. Bombs are falling from the sky, we'll hit the target, time to simplify. Whoa, time to simplify. 1, 2, 3.
To continue because of the foul. Blue wins by default.
oh my god, please leave the horses there.
God, please, Lord.
Because bombs are falling from the sky will hit the target. Time to simplify. Whoa, time to simper fucking fly. Oh yeah. Come on. Drop the bomb. Oh yeah. Oh come on. Drop the bomb. Oh yeah. Oh come on. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Drop the bomb. Bomb, bomb. Drop the bomb. Bomb, bomb. Drop the bomb. Bomb, bomb. Oh come on. Drop the bomb. Oh yeah. Drop the
Do you not?
Welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? There's been a serious lack of creatorship on YouTube lately, I noticed. Hard to get into a live. Luckily we squeezed one in with Miss Potts before she started her shift tonight. And if you missed that, it was a treat. So she read some docs, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. I just like the look on her face. In Kane in the brain. Alright, there's one we can close. Meg P gifting the 5. Thank you very much, Meg P. Let's see if we can do a secret room. There you go. Alright, so nice to have you here. It's Wednesday night. I'm trying to keep a regular schedule for you guys. You know, to come in. Love Tina here. Loving my life. And so nice to see everybody. Thank you so much, Meg P. You work so hard for your money. I really appreciate that. And Twiz is watching. You should be in here in a minute. Tony's here. And look at this. I crawled down to... Uh-oh. Did I speak too soon? Yeah, I crawled down to look for the cap for the orange water bottle. And there was his hat. It's back, and all things on Earth are good again. Let's keep him in the shot. I got my Detroit cop shirt. I don't know if you can see it. I got my cop shirt on today. Not that I was a cop. But you never know. Maybe I was. Maybe I was an agent. Maybe I'm the agent. So we'll keep Tony in the shot tonight. Almost got in a fight today, but that didn't happen. Because I kept my cool. People around in Larghetto are, honestly, drop the camera, some of the dumbest and nicest in the world. It's so hard to explain. But it's like a whole different world than living in Clearwater. I don't know. I've been missing all the fun, I guess. Some punk kid, though, wanted to talk some smack out of his car. You'd have been proud of me, Meg P. I just kept going. And that's how that went down. Okay, so let's get right into it. I got a lot. AI traffic cameras cut down hours after going up. Oh, and let me show you. I was telling Mr. Sentinel that I spilled my orange drink. In an attempt to save this shirt, I put some water on it. So yeah, I'm a big fat dirty slob. It's all good. If in case you wondered that, there's proof. Anyway, yeah, right now we're going up live, and we're against GDC podcast. Normally, like, they're doing a Civil War one too. My favorite topic. We'll check in on them in a little bit here, and so this is a little more interesting than it sounds. A set of AI traffic cameras put up on a city's road bridge has been hacked down hours after it was installed. The device, this is in Britain, by the way. The device had been put up on the A3024 Northern Bridge in Southampton on Tuesday. It was fitted on the road's central island, so they did what I want to do, and I would love to do that. And I have more AI news for you today. It's really exciting. I can't believe. I just can't believe people. And then there's more to that. There's more to not believing. This is a follow-up from, and trigger warning right here. Grabbed your loved one walking. Betsy, hello. And nice to see you. And Jeff H is here, as expected. Thank you for coming in, Jeff. And here we go with this.
Details in the New Year's Eve quadruple death investigation in Puyallup.
Deputies conducted 2 other welfare checks at the Pierce County home before discovering 3 Vossler family members and a living girlfriend dead. The crime scene unfolded inside a home on Eastwood Avenue, a neighborhood described as family friendly.
Don't worry.
Fox 13's Dave Detling joins us from outside the Pierce County Sheriff's Department with more on the investigation and who they say is the accused killer.
Well, investigators believe this was all the work of Shane Vossler, who lived with his parents and his girlfriend in that home in Puyallup. They say that Vossler and his girlfriend died from apparent gunshot wounds to the head. We want to warn our viewers, details in this story are disturbing.
2 parents, a son, and the son's living girlfriend. We believe the son killed his parents.
Investigators with the Pierce County Sheriff's Department telling Fox 13 they collected enough evidence from the New Year's Eve crime scene on Eastwood Avenue in Puyallup to link 33-year-old Shane Vossler to the death of his dad William and his mother Eileen. According to the medical examiner, both had been stabbed. Detectives say Vossler left behind a note.
There was some writing left behind that helped us with that. It's not incredibly clear, but there's a lot of hints in it that we've been able to follow up on.
According to court documents, both the bodies of Vossler and his live-in girlfriend, Subin Lee, were found during a welfare check by deputies and family members. Deputies say the bodies of William and Eileen were not initially found until a search warrant was executed. Notes on the home's refrigerator led to a gruesome discovery.
The post-it notes seem to indicate the contents of the fridge were the bodies of the parents. They had some notes about dates and times.
Reports indicate the bodies had been in the home since July. Deputies also found several guns in the house.
It's heartbreaking to know that happened, that can happen, and just that the home sat there for so long without anyone checking on them is just beyond tragic.
Neighbors who learned about the true nature of this crime still in disbelief. As for why no one noticed, investigators say Shane Vossler was good at concealment, had no job, and kept to himself.
In this case, it was a fairly detached family, not a lot of outside interaction with people. It just was kind of falling through the cracks. There was no one to check on them.
We're also learning that Shane's girlfriend posted to social media about the 2 of them wanting to commit suicide together. That prompted one of the first initial welfare checks. We know the couple was living in the home with those 2 deceased bodies for at least 6 months. Shane going as far as having his father's pickup truck repossessed, so not to raise further suspicion. We're in Pierce County tonight. Dave Detling, Fox 13 News.
Finally.
There you go. That, yeah. Can you imagine if that... Let me turn this down a little bit. Can you imagine if that happened in your neighborhood next door to you? They were living with the bodies in the refrigerator for 6 months when, I guess, the boyfriend and girlfriend decided... And hello, Mark and Betty, and Danger Zone... Salamundo, Shy Flower, all you guys, welcome in. And Rowie, there's Rowie. 6 months in July, kept the parents in the refrigerator. I don't know that they said they went as far as to have the dad's car repossessed. I'm assuming that wasn't his choice. Oh man! So if you remember, that was from New Year's Eve, Quadruple homicide over there, and I guess it was is it Seattle or Baltimore? Baltimore. I'm not sure. Pierce County, so maybe that is Seattle. I don't know, but what? So there's my first story. That's not even the one that's pissing me off today. Translucent, sir.
Come on down.
Let's go.
Does it meet your standard of surfing, chick?
Ready to go?
Come on, King.
My dog used to be so scared of stairs. It took him forever to finally get. And we had those pebble stairs, you know what I mean? Anyway, I wish I'd saved it now, and maybe I'll come across it again. But speaking of stairs, somebody had built an office, and I guess it was like this little kit that you could do underneath the stairs, you know, in that little coat area. And he literally has like this lean back chair with the fancy adjustable monitor for his TV or computer, and it was supposed to be his office. I'm like, man, wasn't kids like, Dad's in his office again, getting weird. It's just so weird looking because it had a clear door, like plexi. Anyway, yeah, can you imagine 6 months with your parents? Be like, honey, can you grab some milk? Where is it? Oh, it's behind my dad's head. How do people do this shit? They're out there, though. Let me tell you. Let me push this one back because I want to get my rant over with today. Alright. So this is the first one here. We've heard about the deplorable conditions of the dormitories and student housing over there at the University of Idaho. And they recently got rid of the, some of the student housing and also the DEI program, the diversity thing, which is another story. But this one is, somebody had put graffiti here, spore. So apparently one of these campus communities has black mold. Let's go. Students in North Campus communities suspect that there is mold in their dorm rooms. Housing has denied any claims that there is black mold or asbestos in the dorms, but there was a spike in sickness with students staying at the NCC's last semester, according to one resident, Abby Lawrence. Lawrence said that for the most of the fall semester she was sick, and it continued to get worse until it progressed into strep throat, and hives appeared on her body. Dinah, thank you so much. Let's take a break from this ridiculous school, and they just deny everything. Let me tell you. As you can see, I'm wearing a coat, and it is cold again. That was kind of disharmonious. We'll try to bring the balance back into the force here. Tony's here. Dinky IMO, hello. Alright, and good to see you. So, thank you again, Dinah. I really appreciate that. It was very nice. I hope I'm making you laugh today. She said I needed to to laugh today. She's going to make me laugh. But it's wrong ways. Thank you. Okay, so let me take these stupid things off. Lawrence said that for the most part, then when I was spending the most time in my room because I was miserably and sick, it just wasn't going away, Lawrence said. After a month, Lawrence started spending less time in her dorm. Pretty much any time I left the dorm for an extended period of time, my hives would mostly go away, Lawrence said. The more time I spent in the dorm, the worse it got and the more sore my throat got. At that point, Lawrence would only go to her dorm to sleep, but would spend most of her day on campus. When she left for fall break, she no longer felt sick. Her roommate suspected there was mold or asbestos in the vent because of black coloration around the edges of it. The ceiling, now in these bigger buildings, it's tough to keep those vents and the clean, and you do the filters, you do what you can in a moist environment like you have in Idaho. I'm sure it's even trickier. We have a lot more humidity to deal with here, so it is tricky. However, admit your mistakes. Nobody seems to be able to do that in that area, in that town especially. According to Lauren, when they talked to the resident director of NCCs, Claire Gorham, she told them that there was mildew behind the walls of their shower, but that would not be fixed until summer. John Kosh, the director of business development, marketing, and communications for housing, stated there was a resident concern for mold, but none had been found. Diana, stop! Thank you. All right, one more. You like that? You like that slide with the lighter? Let me see. Dickie's in here like, oh, is he gonna play guitar the whole time? Come on, Mike. Here, you do. Just harmonious. I haven't even picked it up, and it's funny when you do. That's why I'm using the slide, because when your fingers get cold, I do the spider walking thing, which is just basically just. And then you do it backwards, and you do it all the way up the neck, and you go. There we go. Thank you very much, very, very much, everybody, for being here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we go early enough I can get my British cousins in here once in a while. It's always nice to see them. They provide a good chat. Okay. Well, let me get some orange drink here. Today's show brought to you by the letter P. And that's Meg P. As in Meg P and her secret super crime safe lab. Alright. Alright, here we go. This is where it gets good. John Kosh, the director of business development, marketing, communications, our facilities are maintained regularly to meet health standards and safety standards, and any potential hazards would be addressed promptly and transparently. Kosh wrote in an email to the Argonaut. Lauren and her roommate submitted a service request to have the vent checked. When maintenance came and looked at the vent, they hadn't actually looked at the vent. But they looked at the shower. I'll drink a whiskey and a scotch. All the way down, sir. She said that she had seen no other inspection besides the one of their shower. Lauren, Lawrence was put into NCCs as overflow housing because of her late registration in August. It severely impacted mine and my roommate's mental and physical health, and getting out of there was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I don't know, per se, that this is the required student housing or whatever where they I can only imagine that with the high turnover and stuff. More music. I'll give you a tune in a minute. I'm going to try to think of something decent I can play instead of just off the cuff in here. Thank you, Dana. Very nice. Cold Covet is here. Now, folks, we have an article here, I believe, from Colder Cover. I might have played it last time, but make sure you subscribe to her channel, and I will put the link for you real quick, if you don't mind, since we're done with that little thing of whatever. She's starting to put out some stuff, and she always has good stuff. She ain't no dummy, let me tell you. Alright, so when you get the chance, subscribe. If you're just watching The Purge for the first time, don't be afraid. Meanie don't bite. And don't be afraid of the name. I am Kane B, your host. It's very nice to have you here. This is my co-host,
Tony. The anti-liberty what I call the anti-liberty faction. That is the Astors, as in like John Jacob Astor of Titanic fame and stuff. They're one of the society families out of New York. They intermarried with the Draytons.
Where's that coming from?
Go back to a colonel.
No, that's
one of the colonels in the South Carolina
that's the
chapter.
GCD
that
podcast.
Intermarried with the daughter of the Gadsdens.
Brief
like the
look,
Gadsden
little
flag.
break from this.
General Gadsden was a member of the Society of Cincinnati out of South Carolina. So there's a lot of South Carolina activities there, and again, that's kind of where the Civil War popped off, right?
If I could just do it.
With the Battle of Charleston, right?
I get mad.
So you have this South Carolina situation going on, and
that's the
and some of the power
guys.
of the Society of Cincinnati
into the chat.
does go back to South Carolina, right? So, and some of this narrative shifting, right, surrounding what may or may not have occurred around the society during the Civil War. So, as the story goes, the first president general was George Washington, and then that was from 1783 to 1799. July 4th, 1799, he resigned on a joint session.
I'm the first guy in the chat.
These joint sessions with the society.
That is, if you guys want to check that out later or whatever, don't go now. Please don't leave me.
And that's something that apparently did not occur during
Ashley
the Civil
K's,
War. Right? Again,
that's the
varying
GCD podcast.
Stories now that still
he
exist.
Is the dopest dude on the planet. I really dig him. All right. Next to Douglas Outlaw. Douglas Outlaw, the kick-ass musician. Alright, let's see where we left off. I think it was around... After that, we got one coming, a big one. Alright, student housing. I thought I'd close it. But isn't that amazing? I gotta do my J.J. Vance look. How... It just deny any wrongdoing or anything. Again, thank you, Dinah. That will affect the enrollment or the image of down to the littlest thing. If you lived in New York and you had a dorm room at NYU and it had cockroaches and mice, they would be like, "Yeah, hey, Miss Potts, American Princess. Oh, right, very nice to see you guys. I'm so happy you're here." They'd be like, yeah, that's kind of normal, but they would address it. It's pretty much you can't live anywhere in New York without cockroaches and rats and mice. And apparently you can't live anywhere. Now, but what really gets me, what really throws me about this is that I believe it's the required student housing. Unless you're in a frat or a sorority, you have to live on campus your first year. And, we can look at everything about this case in 50 gazillion, octillion different ways, Kibo, what's up? And the answers, I keep saying, are deadpan in front of us. You know what I mean? Hey, Dinky, are you still watching? Hey, Audrey, are you still? Did you like my? I had to outdo you on the Koberger Pavarotti with the truck turkey one you did for Halloween. So I posted that picture with you in mind. I was just okay. So you can go to these pages and they give you points. There's no more open source. It seems to be gone, and most of the what is it called, the AI picture making stuff, they do it on the line. So you take your picture, you upload it, and then they do it real quick. And so they'll give you a number of points, and they'll give you that first one for free kind of thing. And so that was one of the ones I went to, and I just happened to put... And I had another one that I lost, and I'm pissed. It was the state trooper from the original, one of the original media blitzes there for that Idaho 4, and mixed with Brian Koberger, so he had a big fat face like mine, you know, but he had that huge double chin. It was kind of, and then the other one, the one you see up for this video, is Angel D. Yay. Is Bill Thompson mixed with Brian Koberger. And I had a front-facing picture of Koberger, and I just, for kicks, I just put it with Bill Thompson. And that's what he came out with. So I wanted to keep that one simple. But I really like those two. I'm most proud of the last 3 thumbnails that I did. We can look at those later. I'm not going to do me right now. Too many me's out there. Let's see. Okay, and next one. Oh, this must be from Heather. Not sure what this is here. I don't think we need audio with it. Oh, it's a Hello Kitty girl. And you can see in the mirror something. I don't know. It would probably ruin it if I played the audio, really. So I guess you wanted to see this. There's always a clue in these. Heather, you know, I can never... I need a cipher with you. This is sticking along my animal theme tonight. Here we go. I cannot for the life of me, with all these deep sea boat fishing things with the giant... I know a lot of them are AI. Some of these, they fool me. I don't know. Because like what I was telling you about with the programs on the line that do the AI, they have an option. You can turn a picture into video-ish for 5 seconds kind of thing. So if you guys want to try that, I'll look at the one that I used for the Bill Thompson one. You get a freebie, but there's so many of them out there. And so that's the good side of AI. We're about to get to my mad point right now. This is another story from Idaho, and I hadn't heard of this. I've seen it because I watch a show where they play this kind of stuff. But when they said sliders, beware of dangerous sliders when pumping your gas in Idaho. I thought they were talking about the little credit card things. But it turns out I was wrong. And I think they do warn about that since it was in the title. But what's going on is... I'll just play the video because there's no other point in... a picture's worth 1,000 words on this one, so check it out.
We were able to get surveillance video from the gas station. In that video, you see a silver van pull up next to the victim at the far left pump. The passenger of that silver van gets out, slips into the victim's car, and then both cars take off. The victim tries running after his car, but it's too late. We spoke to a woman who saw the theft happen. She says the suspects first parked next to her car while her newborn baby was in the back seat.
Unreal.
It was just crazy because it's like they looked at our car first. But I don't know if they saw me sitting in the back, but I can only imagine if they'd have taken off with my kid in the back seat. Like, it's just crazy to imagine, like, this really happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna swamp Rose right there. This apparently is happening more and more, and specifically in Idaho. I mean, crime is crime everywhere. You got to be alert. Keep your head on a swivel in any place that is... What does he always call it? When you're in a public place. Do your thing. Pump your gas. Take your keys out of your car, obviously. And I guess sometimes they'll go in the car and just grab your purse, grab your cards, that type of thing. But this guy actually took off with the car on camera. But... don't do stupid things at stupid places at stupid times. And when you're doing your business, make sure you're secure. Walking up, you never know. Thank you, Tony. You're killing me today. Thank you. You're amazing. I hope I bring you as much happiness as you do. Thank you. You've been a great one. So this is okay. We need to study this golf swing. I think it's very important. Let me see if the audio can. I don't know. Let me see. Huh. Oh, it's reality versus fantasy or whatever. I play golf. I'm a pretty good golfer. I used to work at the Countryside Country Club down there, and I used to shag the balls. That doesn't sound right, but off the side of the driving range, and I got really good at the short game. My putting, my drives, I've told you guys before. I played at Torrey Pines, which is one of the PGA Tour stops there in San Diego, and I'm going to leave that one laying right there, Dinah. and so at the first tee, you're teeing out, you're driving par 5, so you want to whack the hell out of it right in front of the restaurant, the 19th hole. So there's a big glass window, and all the fancy people are there watching you. Well, I had borrowed a crappy pair of clubs, and I hadn't played in a few years, from my buddy, and I shanked it. Where I thought it was going to go back into the restaurant. Anyway, I got to get out there more. They have apparently indoor golf, and Tiger Woods was trounced playing at the indoor golf. I don't even know what indoor golf is. It's not like putt-putt. But apparently indoor golf is a thing now, and he was spanked unmercifully in his first professional round. All right, here we go. Let's pat ourselves on the back. And why? Why not? Because we're Sheriff Grady Judd. Where's nothing
Good morning,
half-assed?
everyone.
Where's
Thank you for
Pete
being
Fox?
with us today.
Where's Heather? Oh, I'll get that.
On the first day of employment at the Sheriff's Office, and we hire once a month, I meet with the men and women, and I said I expect you to be honest, ethical, and moral all the time. I expect you to treat people like you'd want your mother treated, and if you do that, you'll have a wonderful career here. And then I go on to explain that, you know, if you work for a fast food restaurant and they catch you sliding pizzas out the back door to their friends, they will terminate your employment and run you off. But there's a difference. If we find you violating the law at the Sheriff's Office, we will also terminate your employment, but we will lock you up in the county jail.
Best and worst foods for your liver. Artichokes, they are
He is definitely, you know, I was doing the thing last time about the firing squad, and you know you can't help. Hey, Mono Man MX, Pizzagate is back. Yeah, we're gonna who else popped in here? I saw Angel Great Britain. Is that Angel Great Britain or is it Angel D? Angel D, an American Princess. Nice to see you guys back. I'm very happy to have you back. And I'll give you a couple of licks here, Dinah, in a minute. What's wrong with me today? The crime craft bunker. You know, it's funny because the chat sometimes moves so fast. I miss some of the funny shit you guys say. And you know, I don't know what it is. I really start watching just to see the intro with what I do with Rochford song, and then I'm 2 hours in, and I'm laughing my ass off. And unfortunately, the chat takes 24 hours to vet itself for whatever reason. In my chat, I see like Swamp Rose and other people's chats tend to be right away that you can see them, but as soon as my live's over, their chat's gone. Whatever. But anyway, yeah. So here, another fine example of some excellent officers that they hired once a month, and Grady Judd is, you know, it's how did they used to do it in the Wild West? That's what I couldn't help but think when I was doing the firing squad stuff last time is, wow, they didn't have any fingerprinting. They didn't have. It was all like, he did it. I saw him. It was that fella right there. String him up. And whether you're guilty or not, you know, they could have that court right there in the prairie bush. So this gentleman here reminds me very much of that time
held
period.
To a higher
Let's
standard.
watch more.
You can't police a community if you don't hold yourself to a higher standard than you expect of the people from the community. Then I look at them and I say, do you understand what I said? And I have them all say, yes, sir, I understand. These folks forgot. They forgot what they were taught. They obviously didn't pay any attention to my warning.
Wait till you hear this.
And as a result, we locked these 3 deputies up on Friday night. And here's how it started. These 3 folks were on our crime suppression team. We were receiving complaints and actually fears of gang activity and narcotics activity in a community, and they were sent there to try to keep the community safe, stop the narcotics dealing, and as...
Is there a problem with the sound, guys? You can hear me, right? I might have clicked away for a second there. Sorry, but it happens when you're doing a live. It's tricky. That's why I'm always proud when I can get through that opening part and mix it all together and get it right. The last one I kind of messed up. I muted for a minute. Anyway, wouldn't it be nice if now in Idaho, if they followed this example? However, as much as you might like Grady Judd and his ways, which is great, I'm glad we have him here. He sets a good example for the other sheriffs here. But he does seem to have one of the highest rates of deputy failure, let's just say. So let's hear the rest. Wait to hear this.
As a result, break up the gang activity. While patrolling in the Winter Haven or the Central District area, they came upon a suspect who ran a red light.
Typically unique, snow effect. Nice to have you with us. This is Polk County, Lakeland, Florida. It's part of Tampa Bay here, just to the east of me. And we, as kids, we used to always go to the concerts there because you had to drive an hour and a half out to Lakeland to go see your concerts in the Civic Center. I saw my first concert was Aerosmith, Back in the Saddle, and Steven Tyler, I'm back. It was wicked. First time I may have the Devil's Lettuce. Who knows? But anyway, I went to another concert there. My last concert there was Sting and the Dream of the Blue Turtles with Branford Marsalis. Wynton Marsalis on the sax. And it was this brand new facility. It was beautiful. And it was a great concert, but it's like, okay, we had enough Sting, and he was doing stuff off the new album for the encore. So my girlfriend and I kind of dipped out early because it was packed, 65,000 people or whatever, and we wanted to get out of there in time. And so we popped out the side door, and boom, MTV cameras were right there shining lights in our face. What did you think of the concert? I'm like, oh, hey, yeah. Wynton Marsalis was just killing on the sax and blah, 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 and this guitar player and all the technical notes about it. And they go to my girlfriend, and she's this really cute, curly-haired blonde girl. And they're like, what did you think? Sting is so hot! So for the next 2 months, they played us coming out of the Civic Center. Actually, for the first week, they played both of us, like me going, blah, 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 and then Sting, and then it was like for the next 6 weeks, it was just her, Sting is so hot. It was just like me on the MTV News or whatever, just pop up. I'm like, do you know how many? And I got together with her probably 15 years ago again, and she didn't even know about it. I was like, you're famous, right?
John Rosinski, who has been with us for about 3.5 years, stopped the vehicle. He was backed up by Jamal Lawson and Garrett Cook. When they stopped, they asked for permission to search the vehicle, which was denied, which is traditionally what our suspects do. We called a canine. The canine did a search and alerted to drugs. They searched the vehicle and they found in the trunk of the vehicle marijuana and alprazolam, controlled substances. So they arrested the suspect, and in the suspect's pocket, it was a female. She had more marijuana in small quantities and $723. When they wrote in their affidavit to put her in jail, and John Rosinski was the...
Well, I gotta wish Cold Recovered's mom a happy birthday. What do you mean you're fiddling with the cake? You better fiddle a piece of that cake over here, baby. Thank you, Angel D. All right, let's get a tune real quick, because, you know, that's how we do it here at the Purge. We just do stuff with... Something coming out. I'm out of tune on. I was really out of tune. Weather, I tell you. You know who's got some, thank you again, 99. You know who's got some really killer licks is that Douglas Outlaw. If you listen to that Lana song, thank you so much, Dana. You're really making my day. He tears it up in the guitar solo in that Lana song. I was pretty impressed. I was doing a little wailing over it, you know, I was playing last time. Anyway, I'm going to finish my story. Guys, distracting me. Now listen, I got the police shirt on today, alright? I am a big supporter of police, and every time, I had a thing for a year, where whenever I'd see anybody in uniform, I'd buy them a sandwich at Wawa. I'd be at Wawa, and I'd see them, buy them a sandwich. As long as they're on the up and up. There's a lot of, I've heard stories of people, oh, my husband was a sheriff for 30 years, and there's always the dark side. And it's a very powerful position, but I was always a big believer in bringing them donuts and fruit. I got yelled at for bringing them donuts one time. They bring fruit salad next time. I'm like, okay, sorry. This guy was like a giant football player, dude. Anyway, and we would be lost without them because of these nut jobs out there. There is no filter whatsoever. They stop at nothing. And so that thin blue line is a real deal. And so thank God for the police and guys like Sheriff Grady Judd that are honest and crack down on crime and make an effort. And I think he follows the right path politically, whether you want to follow that or not. Some of the stuff that happened today, though, has got me wondering about this whole political mess right now. But anyway, dynamite. Let's see, where was I? But yeah, we would be lost. However, the thing that worries me the most is the judicial system, also, and the private prisons that they have a quota to fill, and where they do these busts on the weekends, where they arrest 500 people. You know, it's great to send a message out there, but to have these jail quotas and prison quotas, and then to just expect people that are innocent or maybe whatever to plea out all the time with, you know, just because you're holding them in there, and it's broken a lot of good people. So, and there's a lot of innocent people in prison. There really is. And I know they all say, oh, I'm innocent. But it's... Anyway, let's get on.
The arresting deputy. They wrote that they seized a large quantity of cash. So they wrote it in the arrest affidavit, and they also wrote it in their initial report.
I am not going to make it through this video clip. I might have to stop it. But yeah, no, Mr. Sentinel has always a great point. There seems to be, and you know, for good reason, I guess, the intent of harboring or less prosecution against police, but if they commit a crime, they commit a crime, and they should be punished to the maximum extent of the law if they abuse that power, especially like what happened here in Clearwater last summer, a couple summers ago, where the guy picked up the girl and told her he was going to arrest her for jaywalking unless she did the whatever. There's Heather. I told you she was going to play Miss Doubtfire for now. So yeah, great point, Mr. Gentleman. Thank you.
So this was on the 21st of December. They take the suspect to jail. They have a day off. They come back to work on the 23rd of December, where John writes his report and he processes evidence, and he puts several pieces of evidence into property and evidence. But they don't put any cash, any money into property and evidence. What the three of them talk about on the 23rd is, uh-oh, the money's missing. They counted it, all three of them at some point in time counted the money and determined it was $723. And then I'll fast forward to the investigation. Rosinski said Lawson had the money. Lawson said he didn't have the money. Rosinski had the money, and Garrett Cook said, I never had the money, but they all admitted counting the money. So they decided on the 23rd of December, we've really got a problem here. We're missing money. We've lost the $723. They decided at that point what they would do is they would all kick in and replace the money, which is inappropriate, by the way. But they never did. And they did not go to their supervisor and say, we lost the money. So time goes on. Rosinski even has a conversation and says, you know, I'm afraid before this is over with, I'm going to get arrested for theft. So they still do nothing.
Meanie Weenie's here, yay, at last. The last 24, welcome in. And these three officers, all you missed in the beginning meeting was he was talking about that he expects more, and he tells them out of the officers than hey, SJSU, very nice to see you. And Joaquin Tonka's here. All right. The whole crew has arrived. And basically okay, so let me preface this with the whole thing. I believe it was New Orleans or something like that, where they actually had to pass, and I think it's nationwide now, they passed the legislation because cops were taking people's money, whether they're innocent or not, and I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars, and keeping it, and the people never are able to get it back. There's no record of it, and it was happening with the ABC agencies, especially the ATF. In the airports were seizing money and not returning it, and it would go to there was a motivation to take the money from people, and so they're stopping people and doing unconstitutional searches, taking their money, and the funds go to like the policeman's ball or whatever amenities that are offered to police officers. And so the corruption was so high, they actually had to pass legislation. And so they pulled this person over, recorded that they got the money, and the drugs and stuff, but the money was missing, and then they tried to cover their tracks by pooling the $700 between them to cover their tracks.
Now let's advance into March, when our suspect's felony charges are reduced to misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Once that happens, our suspect calls Property and Evidence and said, hey, I would like to have my cell phone and my money back.
Hey, no.
She said it was somewhere under $730. She didn't know exactly how much. Property and Evidence refers her back to the district and to the supervisors where the event occurred. She calls and talks to what we call the RID, Regional Intake Detective. That detective was filling in actually for the RID detective, and she said, look, I would like my money back. So he looks, he pulls up the reports, and he says, we'll get back to you. He calls Rosinski and says, I don't see any money here. Rosinski gets panicked. Rosinski starts talking to his buddies, and I'm giving you the 30,000-foot view because, and you can see in the press release, they have different versions of this conversation. In the meantime, Rosinski also calls down to P&E, Property and Evidence. The Property and Evidence lady goes, no, there's no mention of any money in any of that property and evidence that was seized and ultimately we have. But the Property and Evidence lady went forward and searched all around to see if maybe a piece of evidence got logged by mistake under the wrong case number, and she found none. And then Rosinski says, when he called the lady at P&E, he said, call me back on your personal cell phone. So they had this conversation, and he said, did anybody hear you talking to me? Just forget this conversation occurred. She hangs the phone up, and she says to herself, self, that doesn't sound right. So she goes to her sergeant. Her sergeant goes to Rosinski's sergeant. Rosinski's sergeant calls him in and goes, what is this all about? The money. Don't worry about it, Sarge. We got it covered. I'm writing a supplement report. And the sergeant says, stop. I don't know what you're talking about, but stop what you're doing. Everybody did what was right when it came to their attention by our suspect, who is now the victim of a theft. But these three folks. So our Rosinski sergeant gets with his supervision. We start a criminal investigation immediately. This all happens from last Monday. Last Monday's when the lady made the initial request for her money back. We do an investigation, and our detectives and supervisors are simply the very best, did what they were supposed to do. When they saw something that wasn't right, they immediately investigated.
Let's get serious. If you're like most people,
I don't see how we're ever going to get through this. But anyway, love him or hate him, Grady Judd, they seem to tend to do the honest thing there. Now, in many cases where these people have lost money, it's you against the state or you against the feds trying to prove that you had money. And that, as we know, is an up-road battle. And I usually, Tampa Bay here isn't something I put in the news stories, but I thought it was a very good insight into the mentality of a lot of these officers. And God bless the officers for protecting us and our military. Thank you so much for all you do. And I think a lot of the corruption comes from the top, from people that are frustrated and been underpaid for years. They take on side jobs and stuff like that, and it leads to whatever. Starbucks employees say a popular order hack may actually be delaying your coffee. It doesn't sound like much, right? Okay, so Some Starbucks customers are using the chain's mobile app to try to get faster drive-through service, but Starbucks employees say it just makes their job more difficult. The habit points to improvements CEO Brian Nicco could make as it attempts a turnaround. So the gist of it is, what people are doing is they're ordering their coffee on the line using the app while they're in line. And so they get up to the window and it says on the app it's going to take 6 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, that's when you're going to get your order. And instead they pull up the window and now they got to sit there, hold up the line. Which harkens back to what I say today. People are messed in the head. I cannot ride around, walk around, anything in this town without some idiot being a punk ass. Kids go to bed. But I'm telling you, I don't know what's up with Larghetto. It's nuts. I'm sure Tony knows that Ohio is the same way. But listen, you guys do good things, and there's a lot of people that do good things, and a lot of people take advantage of that, unfortunately. So we keep on going, we keep on living, and hope, I keep watching those things that are like the 1970s. This is what we did before phones, and it's like, man, it seems like a whole different world ago, doesn't it now? So I keep warning you about these killer pandas. And here's one example I don't think I've played.
Situation when a panda at the zoo suddenly charged at her. A zookeeper had accidentally left a door open, and the panda, curious and eager to explore beyond its enclosure, saw this as a chance to escape. However, its path was quickly blocked by other zookeepers who stepped in front of it, leaving the animal frustrated. While trying to figure out a way out, the panda noticed a woman inside the zone repeatedly closing the door it was trying to exit through. It quickly changed its focus and charged directly at her. The massive animal grabbed her leg, pulling her to the ground with surprising force. As the woman struggled on the ground, the panda's heavy paw came down on her, causing severe pain. Fortunately, after a few intense moments, the panda suddenly retreated, giving the woman a brief window to escape.
Poor panda. Just wanted to get out of his enclosure. Oh well. You don't see him that active. So yeah, what are you doing? Nothing half-assed? You said you're fire masoning or something. Are you a fire mason? And here I'm glad you're here because where is it? I came across this, and I don't know if I played it back then or not, but this was a little nothing half-assed note she left to me before the Netflix Tyson fight.
Hey, this is Mike Tyson, and I'm the meanest, baddest, tiger blood havingest man on the planet. I am the GOAT. J. Paul is going down on his knees again, like the little bitch that he is. I'm gonna teach him to respect people that are better than him. And that's me. I'm the GOAT. Ask nothing half-assed, my friend. Just tell me how to do that uppercut. Tonight, Netflix. Be there. Bye, Jake. Little bitch.
She even nailed the voice on that. So good. I don't remember if I saw it. I just wanted to make sure I'd played it on a Purge episode here. So yeah, if you're not subscribed to Nothing Half-Assed and you're not a guy, go over there and please subscribe to her. We got to get some more people seeing her stuff. I'm telling you, Lizzo. No, Meg P. That was one of the best comments I've seen this year. I personally don't know who wins with Truly. That was very apropos. I gotta give you a pat on the craft room for that one. All right, let's keep going here. Get rid of that. And I'm dying to check on that JD Vance thing. All right, we got a lot more. I got 2 windows to go, so we'll be here for a minute, guys. Settle in, and if it's your first time watching The Purge, please subscribe, join in the chat. Meanie doesn't bite. Don't be afraid of the name. I'm Kane B, your host, and we're very happy to have you with us today. So do all the things and hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. I'm always so jealous of these street cater kids because it's like you're just literally flying through the streets, Let's get back to... Okay, we'll do Miss Potts in a second. Did that one. All right, here we go. This is from Jenn at Criminal Company.
What time is it right now?
This was the one where they're doing some type of countdown. And last week I played the one that showed Joe Vito and the password is potato and no Xana, which I know he's on YouTube and he's obviously involved in Idaho 4. So if you're watching, Joe, please let us know what you were watching that you had to share the password for. You haven't mentioned that, and normally it would be none of my business, but on that particular night, it's all about my business. So Joe Vito, if you're listening, please let us know and end that little hangly dangly detail, alright? Please. And I love you too, Angel D. Here we go.
10 minutes. What time is it right now? Oh, it's fucking 2:06. Fuck. It feels like 2:20, Joe.
You guys, chat, Joe is. I'll come over here so they can 6.
Fuck.
That one's kind of wild. Are you saying you have BK rapping? I keep hearing about the BK rap and all that. I don't know what you guys are referring to. I'll go to your page in a second and check that out. Nothing that fast. Let's see. Okay, so here's some good news. Some fun, exciting, once in a decade news. And of course, this is from my friend Dennis Phillips over there at ABC Action News, the only actual weatherman that does his job here in Tampa Bay correctly and with enthusiasm. And I used to shop at the same Publix as him. I used to also shop at the same Publix or Vons as Rick Springfield. So you literally, it's so weird to see these celebrities in a normal situation. Like Dennis Phillips, he's the weatherman, he wears the suspenders. So you see him grabbing a thing of milk and you're like, oh, it's Dennis Phillips. It's like being on TV. Anyway, so it looks like there's a 0.1% chance that we will get snow. There was a 6% chance that we'll get 0.1 inches of snow here in Tampa Bay this year. And I told you guys before that it is possible. So let's read some of the comments here. Where'd it go? I don't know. I don't see it. What on earth is this? Heather. Okay. Well, there's the copyright strike for the day. That was not worth it. Okay. Anyway, here's our next story. And this comes from the guy we like, the civil rights lawyer. And I was like, oh, this is just another blah, blah, blah tale. Hey, Moto Man, Max, if I didn't say hi, I want to say hi. There we go. And
police arrested the wrong Jennifer Heath, and I spent my Christmas holidays in jail. How could police think I'm 26 if I have a 30-year-old child?
A Texas woman is hauled off to jail after getting off a cruise ship in Fort Lauderdale.
I guess just go home and I'll
There's no way I'm not going to go home without you. But it turns out this was a case of mistaken identity.
Incompetent police officers in Broward County, Florida, arrested this 50-year-old mother of 3 grown children on a completely different woman's arrest warrant.
Are you serious?
How did this happen, and why did she stay in jail for over 3 days.
It's for endangering a child.
I think you'll have the wrong person.
Endangering a child? My kids are grown.
They're grown in college and moved away.
Tragically, Christmas morning, Jennifer woke up in jail. She wasn't given a chance to consult with an attorney, to review the warrant, the charges against her, or to speak to any judge. Fortunately, the Institute for Justice has taken up her case, filed a federal civil rights lawsuit.
And now she's suing the Broward Sheriff's Office and Broward County.
Police cannot overlook obvious evidence that they have the wrong person when making an arrest. 23 years younger, substantially shorter, had different color hair, different color eyes, different license, and different social security numbers.
But the cops are saying they did nothing wrong.
And no employee misconduct was found. The matter is now closed.
I mean, they were literally captured on video arresting the completely wrong person. How can they say they did nothing wrong? I'll tell you what happened and how you can help join this fight to hold this police department accountable. This is a nightmare story that any one of you could find yourselves in, that your mother, that your grandmother, that your daughter could find themselves in.
Definitely Christmas won't forget.
That's the real root. If there was more punishment, I guess, is the only, repercussions for what these officers are doing, it would, I think, lessen the frequency of it. Right? And I think that they know that they can either, for so long, they've been able to get away with so much stuff that if at the worst, they would get moved to another department. Now, they come down on them, but by the time it gets to trial, or if it even does, then the charges are dropped, or they give them a lesser sentence. That's why I love this guy. He calls it out, and it's stuff that I really didn't think this was going to be nothing I wanted to play. Nothing half-assed. And it turned out...
Hey everybody, this is John. I'm out here in
get by this
Wimberley
commercial and get
with
back
kangaroos.
to it.
Hopefully,
Sorry about
Tyson
that.
doesn't
He's going
attack
to do his
me.
little spiel too, I think, right here.
Have you noticed that everything requires subscriptions, with basically just a few taps? Now let's get back into it. This is Jennifer Heath Box. She lives in Richmond, Texas with her husband, Kyle Box. She has 3 adult children, and they're all out of the house. In January of 2022, her brother Mark was diagnosed with cancer for a second time. Once doctors confirmed that his treatment was successful and that he was fit to travel, Mark invited Jennifer and her husband Kyle on a cruise to celebrate his health and other milestones that had passed while he was in treatment. Jennifer was elated to have this time with her husband and her brother's family, after which she planned to promptly return home to Texas over the Christmas holidays so that she could spend that time with her children. It was going to be the last time for at least 3 years that she would have all of her children together, because her son Joshua had just completed his training with the Marines and he was set to be deployed to Japan for 3 years, beginning December 27th. But unbeknownst to Jennifer, while she and her family were enjoying this celebratory cruise, the Broward County Sheriff's Office in Florida was planning to arrest her for someone else's crime. When Jennifer's cruise ship arrived back at Port Everglades, Florida, early on the morning of Christmas Eve, she and her family began to disembark. Several Broward Sheriff's Office officers, with the help of U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, were waiting to arrest her before she could even get off the ship.
When I was disembarking, I went and scanned my photo ID, and at that point in time, it just rang for security. And so they had me step aside, and then at that point in time, we noticed that police were coming on to surround me and my husband.
I'm going to jail? If we verify.
Are you serious?
If we verify.
When Jennifer asked why she was being detained, deputies told her that it was for a warrant. She asked what the warrant was for. Broward Sheriff's Deputy Peraza responded that it was from Harris County, Texas, for endangering a child, specifically for endangering a dependent child under the age of 15.
I have no transportation.
I just don't understand why I'm getting arrested.
We just told you it's for a warrant.
A warrant for what?
Yeah, could you do that?
Yeah, I would love to know. It has to be verified still anyway.
It's not that
okay?
verified, but I mean,
So-
if we're already at this point. It's for endangering a child.
Now, this didn't make sense because Jennifer had no minor children. She had never been arrested before. She's never had any real outstanding warrants. Her husband Kyle immediately said, "I think you have the wrong person."
I think you'll have the wrong person.
But Deputy Jean responded, "That's why we verify."
Endangering a child. Well, that's why we verify.
That's why we're going to verify it.
That's why we
Just have
verify.
to verify
It's
it
okay.
there.
But Deputy Peraza, as you'll see, had already made up his mind to arrest Jennifer, stating, "We have to verify, but we're already at this point, so..."
It's not that verified, but I mean, if we're already at this point.
Deputy
Broward County, excuse me, is fairly well known as one of the most atrocious police departments in the state of Florida, for sure. And they deal with some horrible crime, but they've had a lot of abuse allegations and stuff like that. And, but here, it's so funny. They, "Oh, well, that's why we verify." They didn't verify Jack, as you'll see. She doesn't fit the description. They're sitting here telling her their kids are grown and in college. And that officer was so determined to arrest her anyway that they did. And she gets to spend the end of her vacation 3 days in jail. So.
Peraza then asked Jennifer her age. She told him her date of birth, which was from the year 1974.
January 2874.
Jennifer telling Deputy Peraza her birth date should have been a giant red flag. The person he had the warrant for was somebody nearly half Jennifer's age. Jennifer handed officers her driver's license and also her passport, both of which contained plenty of information to alert the officers that they had the wrong person. As Jennifer pointed out to the officers, it was impossible that the warrant was for her because her children were grown and in college.
It's almost like with law enforcement, that common sense is just straight out the window. They just throw anything that would rationally explain anything is now tossed. And we have these ridiculous situations that people get in and are spent some time incarcerated. Now, imagine if this had gone on longer and they dragged it out for 2 years. Like they do. Because they never want to admit wrongdoing. And you couldn't find a case where that's clearer than here.
Endangering a child. What child did I endanger? You have a child? My kids are grown. They're in college.
They're grown in college and moved away.
Like I said, that's why we verify.
Is this something that's out of Florida? I know this is not right. You got 110%.
Is that right?
I don't know what child.
This is absolutely.
My kids are grown.
Go ahead and do what I just saw, what I had mentioned to you, give them everything. Let me have the phone. Hold on to the phone. So these are the only two things we're going to bring with us. Go ahead and give them the wallet, the purse. Don't take the jewelry off if you want. If you have any necklaces, earrings, go ahead and take that off your belt. Take that off.
Make sure you tell him where you put all the My valuables. jewelry's all in here. Passport, do I need this?
No.
Yeah, and watch the jewelry turns up missing. You're powerless, and it's more important for them to fill that jail with all the warrants that they have than it is to have this person get their constitutional rights respected.
Do you have any piercings? No. I guess just go home and I'll fly
There's
home.
no way I'm not going to go home without you.
Where's home?
Texas, Houston.
To go see our kids.
That's where the warrant is out of, so you're going there.
I don't know what kid I endangered. She has a necklace.
Just looking at Jennifer should have caused any reasonable officer on the scene to realize that she was not the person they were looking for. There were at least 5 observable differences between Jennifer and the woman that they were looking for. Jennifer was 48 years old, while the warrant sought someone who was 27 years old, nearly half Jennifer's age. Jennifer is 5 inches taller than the suspect. Jennifer has fair skin, while the warrant sought someone with medium-toned skin. Jennifer has light blue-gray eyes, while the warrant sought someone with brown eyes. Jennifer has red hair, while the warrant sought someone with black hair. there were all these discrepancies between the warrant they had and the information available in the National Crime Information Center database. The names were different. The warrant was for Jennifer Del Carmen Heath, while Jennifer's name is Jennifer Heath Box. The suspect's address was an apartment in Houston, Texas, while Jennifer's address was in a different county in Richmond, Texas. They both had different social security numbers. They had different FBI numbers. At the very least, all of these discrepancies would have caused any reasonable police officer to do their basic due diligence to confirm whether the person that they were about to arrest was actually the subject of the arrest warrant.
I mean, literally all they had to do was look at her driver's license. And then, okay, sorry, ma'am, we made a mistake. Be on your way.
Definitely Christmas won't forget. We're trying to make it as little as possible, honey, okay? And I don't understand why this was Houston. Why didn't I get arrested when I was just do me a favor, check all over your pockets right now to show that weight. Okay.
So get rid of that.
Get rid of.
Hi, Carla. Lori Scott, welcome in. Thanks for coming. Glad to have you here. What a nice terminal that is.
My pocket, no little, anything small. Your earrings? I don't have any earrings. Oh, this is amazing.
Put your palms together.
Like you're praying.
I was feeling everything from confusion to, frustration, anger, because I knew that this was impossible to have a warrant for child endangerment. And in my mind, all I kept thinking about was, I need to get home to my son because he was leaving on the 27th, and this was Christmas Eve, and this was my last.
That's a good point, Cassidy Kane, actually. It may be more about them being disrespected, or so to speak, than the truth. The obvious, blatant truth. A police officer who had been on the force one day could have seen this was wrong name, wrong age, wrong eye color, wrong hair color, wrong address. Boom, and instantly. And so, but they carry on with the arrest anyway. It's like, they treat us all like criminals. Yeah, that whoever said that is absolutely right, and it's horrifying. I mean, I realize this is a minimal, but what if this person had just started a new job, and now they missed out, they had this arrest, they lost that job, they could end up homeless, and they don't care, because watch.
Last Christmas that I would have all my kids together.
Okay. Oh, you good?
He told Jennifer that the birthday and the name on the warrant matched hers, but that wasn't true. The suspect's full name was Jennifer Del Carmen Heath, not Jennifer Heath Box.
It was Jennifer Edkin Box.
It says Jennifer right here. It's Jennifer. You're Jennifer.
What's your middle name?
It's Heath, H-E-A-T-H.
Probably the correct.
The video footage shows that Deputy Peraza's actions
We pretty much take it all. Fridges and dishwashers and dressers, drawers, couches.
go well beyond just incompetence. At one point, Deputy Peraza lied to Jennifer and told her that the information on the warrant matched her date of birth and her married name of Box. That was a lie. It did
They
not.
straight up lied right there to her face. On body cam, I'm assuming. What is this? What is this crap? We got enough problems with these psychos running the street. Now we have the psychos in law enforcement. And listen, just listen.
With the same birthday? With the same AKA box?
No, that's me.
Okay, well that's what we have on the warrant right now.
I'm just saying I don't have it. That's all. I'm just.
Peraza had also previously told the female deputy before he left, Deputy Jean, that he had, quote, confirmed that Jennifer was the subject of the warrant. In no way did Perez confirm anything.
The suspect was also 23 years younger, substantially shorter, had different...
I missed that, Cassidy. That's a good observation. Yeah. Wow. Did you remember that one where they were going through the house and they weren't even looking for evidence? They were just trying to find stuff to steal. Did you ever? I played that video if you guys remember.
Color hair, different color eyes, different license, and different social security numbers. Despite that, Peraza still brought the wrong Jennifer to the police station.
I don't think that he was even really hearing me, and I just felt like the whole entire time I just didn't have a voice, you know, that it was just completely lost because in his mind he had his agenda of why he's arresting me.
Was from July 20th, 2022.
Okay. I was just curious, like I said, 'cause I know I've gotten pulled over before since then in Houston, and I haven't heard anything. So I'm just confused with all this. And I don't have a 16-year-old.
There's nothing about a 16-year-old in there.
All my kids are all grown, I guess is what I'm getting at.
You've had no incidences at all whatsoever in the past couple of years?
I promise you.
I don't answer questions right there. There you go. I had a I don't answer questions video. That was really good. I took it out because I had so many to get to, and I just wanted you to hear how they responded to this. It won't be a big surprise for you. Hello, Heather. Nice to have you with us today. Very nice to have you in the chat. I'm glad to see you here. Heather, is it Aquarius? I thought it was Virgo, but I guess it's Aquarius.
How could police think I'm 26 if I have a 30-year-old child?
Ignoring every indication that he had arrested the wrong person, Deputy Peraza brought Jennifer into the booking station at the Broward County Jail. There, more red flags were ignored. When the BSO officers booked her into the jail, a female jail officer scanned Jennifer's driver's license and informed Deputy Peraza that there were no outstanding warrants attached to Jennifer's driver's license. And this backed up what Jennifer had told officers all along, that there was no warrant for her arrest, that they had the wrong person. But being representatives of government, the officers once again ignored evidence that was very clear that they had the wrong Jennifer. Unable to admit his mistake, Deputy Peraza convinced the female jail officer that she also should ignore these red flags and all the evidence indicating that there was no probable cause to have this person incarcerated in their jail. All Deputy Peraza had to support his mistaken claim that this was the right person was that Jennifer shared 2/3 of her name with the suspect, and it turned out the suspect's mugshot appeared to look like Jennifer. Then, unbelievably, Deputy Peraza filled out an affidavit in support of Jennifer's arrest, which means under oath, and on that form, Deputy Peraza listed Jennifer's correct identifying information, even though that correct information contradicted the description of the suspect, Jennifer Del Carmen Heath, who was wanted in Texas. So they booked Jennifer into the Broward County Jail anyways. And of course, they also took Jennifer's fingerprints and mugshot. And guess what? The fingerprints did not match, obviously. Jennifer endured a traumatic Christmas in jail.
It was dirty like you would imagine. And then the strip search, you know, it's just humiliating and degrading, you know. Sorry. I mean, it was just, sorry. It was really traumatizing, you know, and that part of it, you know, just because you just felt like you weren't a human anymore.
Everyone is calling this the new billion.
Yeah, it is very much like Detective Payne, and that was a good catch, of course, Miss Potts. How do you have a warrant for someone with something as simple as a picture? Brown eyes, different colored eyes, everything, different height. Yet they continued on. Why? Why?
$1 million stimulus program for Florida homeowners. It's a brand new solar.
They made her strip all of her clothes and conducted a body cavity search. They gave her a prison uniform and a blanket and put her into a cell with other female inmates. The guards were condescending and demeaning anytime she asked a question. In her first night in jail, she witnessed a fight, continuous screaming, yelling, and violence. Guards kept the jail cells ridiculously cold, so cold that the guards wore heavy coats, hats, and gloves, while the inmates, including Jennifer, were given small blankets that were not nearly enough to stay warm. She was forced to shiver all night. Eventually, she laid back to back with a stranger just to try to keep warm. Tragically, Christmas morning, Jennifer woke up in jail. She wasn't given a chance to consult with an attorney, to review the warrant, the charges against her, or to speak to any judge. While in jail, Jennifer was permitted 2 phone calls a day, which she used to communicate with her husband Kyle, who was keeping her up to date on his efforts and her brother's efforts to get her free. On the afternoon of December 26th, her husband told her that Harris County, Texas, acknowledged her DMV photo had been placed on the suspect's warrant. About an hour later, a jail official came to Jennifer's cell and told her that Broward Sheriff's Office knew she was not the person who was wanted in Harris County. For a split second, Jennifer thought this nightmare was finally over, but her hopes were quickly crushed. She was told that despite their mistake, the only way for her to go free was if Harris County officials came to get her or arrested the correct Jennifer Heath. She was told this could take up to 30 days, if they came at all. She was devastated. Broward Sheriff's Office continued then to hold Jennifer in custody for the remainder of December 26th into the morning of December 27th, even though they now knew that she should not have ever been detained in the first place. And as a result of that, she was forced to endure another night of cold, uncomfortable, traumatizing conditions. She was finally released from custody at 9:50 a.m. on the morning of December 27th, 2022, over 75 hours after her wrongful arrest. And by that time, it was already too late to celebrate Christmas with her children, and worst of all, too late to say goodbye to her son Joshua before he left for his deployment to Japan. To this day, nearly 2 years later, Jennifer still has not had all of her 3 children together as she would have. And to date, she has never received an apology or an explanation for why the Broward Sheriff's Office mistook her for Jennifer Del Carmen Heath. When she was released, Broward Sheriff's Office personnel simply told her, hey, it happens.
While I was in jail, I had missed out on Christmas Eve. I missed out on Christmas Day with my kids. I missed out on my family time together. I took my brother away from his family on Christmas because they spent their time trying to get me out of jail. I didn't get to see my son off to the airport for him to be stationed over to Japan for the U.S. Marines. I missed out on everything. I missed out on all my family time with my kids. I missed out on having those moments, having, photos and pictures.
And obviously in this case, it's sentimental things that were lost. But look at what if they'd held to their guns with the Houston or whatever police need to come bail you out. That's the only way we're letting you out. Even though we made a mistake, and then they let her go finally and say, oh, it happens. But what if there was financial loss, houses foreclosed on, lose the kids, whatever it may be, and they don't give a crap. They just want to put you in that jail, get you in that judicial system that is so corrupt and twisted. And common sense, gone. Forget it. And imagine this. Imagine if she did have a criminal record. Imagine if she was wanted somewhere else. They would have arrested her and thrown away the key. Fortunately, she was a law-abiding citizen, and the system was able to right itself after 3 awful, miserable days in that I'm sure Broward County Jail is no pleasure garden. Anyway, so yeah, isn't that crazy? I clicked on it, and it popped in my feed, and I was like, wow. That is such a great example. This might be a repeat. Let me see. Oh, I think this is actually another one from Jim. Excuse me, from Jenn. I wanted to play. I'm not sure if it's a repeat.
I don't drink that heavily. I do a couple of beers with friends. I'm not a good drunk. Yeah. Did you call me? Oh, great. Unnecessary. Did you call me? It was no. I didn't know until I did in fact blackout. It was when I came down here. It was the first time I blacked out. It was pledge dad night. I was as a fight adult. And through some stuff. I eventually wound up in the bathroom with Steph threatening to kill people if they got within about 15 feet. Through some stuff. I eventually wound up in the bathroom with Steph threatening to kill people if they got within about 15 feet. Is what I was told. I woke up in somebody else's shirt. On the floor of the shower. But a couple beers. We're good. By a couple, I mean no.
Wowzers. That's some bonkers. I'd never heard that before, so I'm glad we... Again, that's from Jenn at Criminal Confidential. Do all the things for her. This one was a little bit more also, again, than I thought it would be, and it's sad, and this is a result of the DEI being removed from University of Idaho. They're one of the first ones to do it, and I'll play it normal ways. I'm trying to avoid, if I don't think the lawyer guy is going to strike anybody, just in case. I'm trying to be as careful as possible because my suspension comes up on February 21st, so we'll see where we're at that point. If you're first time watching The Purge, I'm Kane B. Hit subscribe and like and do all the YouTube things. Thank you.
The University of Idaho Women's Center is now closed because of new state diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. The center hosted a closing celebration on campus today. The Women's Center says violence prevention and advocacy services will continue in a new office. The center's director said the number of people who showed up today shows how much support the center had.
It gives me a lot of sadness and pain to think of how hard people fought for this place to exist. And lots of those people are still around. You saw the crowd here today. So for it to close, it's a huge blow.
In addition to today's closure, the University of Idaho has also shuttered the Black and African American Cultural Center, the Office of Equity and Diversity, the Office of Multicultural Affairs, the Diversity Center, and the LGBTQA offices.
So, as a kid, all right, Idaho had its issues, and we found with Heather Fitzgerald's video. Maybe I'll play that a little later if we have the time. There's always been, and it's been up and down as far as the neos go, and the private. As a kid, I remember I watched the news ever since I saw Nixon get on the helicopter when he was resigning. And I followed it closely. I literally used to watch all the political shows, Meet the Press, that kind of thing, to try, because it would blow my mind that these people were getting away with stuff and what they were doing. And here, I don't see what the connection is to DEI and why they shuttered so many things that they worked so hard to get in there, because as we know, in Idaho, women take it pretty hard in the chin, and they don't have a whole lot of resources and places to go to, and here was something that was very supported, at least for that. You know, you got historical cultural centers getting shut down for why? They've made more profit just because they're following what's going on in the political agenda, and I'm about to get to that. The political agenda. I say things kind of fast sometimes, I notice. But, yeah, so that is more than meets the eye on that as far as where their head is at. It's got to be the money. They're terrified that this cliff is coming, of loss of enrollment, and they will... The thing is, they're taking full price admissions for students, and they're putting them in black mold dorms and making them live there. They're taking away the resources. They make promises all these years. Oh, the Kibbe Dome's going to be this and Kibbe Dome's going to be that. Just make sure you pay it as part of your tuition. Once they get the money, They don't even care to live up to what they promised. And I'm sure they're not the only university that's like that. And it's your choice whether you want to send kids to this college or not. I certainly wouldn't. That was a big monster barrel right there, and that is I don't know if that's Jaws or Waimea somewhere out there, but man, what a wave. And look at this drop. You think he's not going to make it. These guys are strapped in on these boards, but half the time on a drop like that, they're not going to make it. Anyway, okay, so moving on.
Who's this lady? Yeah? Okay, well. Sometimes with my friends, I close. So, that's just a thing. I throw that in. We could be friends. How do you know this fella?
I've known him since like the 4th grade.
Cool, well, we are taking our sweet time, aren't we? Are you seeing someone else? So cool, yeah, same with me. What do you look for? Oh. Were you in the military? Yeah, Nora was all right. All right, well, I wasn't in the military per se. Have you dated someone in the military before? Whoa, it sounds like someone really gets around base. Well, who's this lady?
Yeah, it looks like things may change, and I don't want to curse myself, but I do have a job interview tomorrow. As soon as just a little trickle of money starts coming in on this job thing, things will change. I will definitely try to stream while surfing. I get the GoPro thing and get out there and try to go to Wabasso where there's some big shore break. If that was Nazare, it certainly didn't look like Nazare. Minuteman or Minuteman X. What is it? Hi, Laurie Scott. Nice to see you. Last 24. Wow, very honored to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. Moto Man X. That looked like Hawaii to me, but I might be wrong. Alright, let's continue on and get going. Yeah, there will be some big changes. I'll be... my goal is to get to Boise for the trial. If this happens, then hopefully I will get there. And Twiz and I can... party it up and check out the trial and report from there. So that's the plan, and all things are ready. I haven't lost my base. I'm holding on to the edge of the cliff. But we're still here, baby. Check out this body where I don't know where this speed comes from. It looks like he's getting towed, but he's not. And you can see from the backflip that it's not a motorized board or anything, so that's a wild little speed. Now, anyway, I'm not going to get into a Kane story right now. We got to eat the Miss Potts here. I want to play that for you guys.
Yeah, I'm good. You couldn't get it.
You guys alright?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. They do have to deal with a lot of shitheads, and they have put. Think about if you're my age or whatever, which is 20. You remember when we were kids, the puke holes that used to walk around and get away with crazy stuff. You got to figure about 50 to 90% of those people are now locked up. They had all kinds of mental issues, whatever, home issues. Imagine if we didn't have somebody between us to stop that. If it was our job, if I had to sit at my door with a gun all day, what am I going to get done? And you have the trade-off between the two, but you got to figure if they release the prisons, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. But, you know, they pretty much released all the Venezuelan prisons here, and now we're dealing with that. But like what I was getting to before is, as a kid, I watched the news, and I always hear it coming up, and you'd see the 2020 reports that someday we knew that we were going to have to deal with Idaho. Idaho was this growing problem. It was a hotbed for racist activity and neo-Nazism and all that stuff. And it does seem to play into a lot of factors. You have so many things that are messed up going on in Idaho. And at the same time, it's such a beautiful place to live. What an exchange, right? So, all right, careful what you wish for, I guess, on that one. Okay, so this is kind of cool. They'll probably hit us with a commercial on it first. But this is another drone. But check it out.
Oceans are a brutal and unforgiving place. In the cold, murky depths, everything is a hunter, everything is hunted, and one day, everything is food. From sharks and barracuda whose teeth can shear any sort of flesh, to deep-diving whales that do battle with mighty cephalopods in near-complete darkness, to bioluminescent tricksters that can coax an unsuspecting fish straight up into their mouths, there are no shortage of ways to be destroyed in the depths. But now, a new predator is emerging from the deep, one that's traded in its gills and scales and its sharp teeth in exchange for twisted metal and cold robotic intelligence. Its name is the Manta Ray, a new and futuristic underwater drone that intends to redefine the very nature of underwater warfare. Hardy, independent, and entirely innovative, this newest DARPA project is one part an evolution into true modern warfare, and one part an evolution from the very same creatures that have prowled the depths for so long. So today at Mega Projects, we're going to get as close a look as we can at this new piece of hardware before it dives back down again toward the seafloor and wait of the construction and testing of entire full-scale underwater vehicles integrating the requisite technology.
Get a limited time Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Anyway, I like to keep abreast of what's going on in the robot world and all that. I didn't really necessarily want to play this whole video, but it won't let me close. But there it is. It looks like a stealth fighter that's underwater, and it's whatever it is. And so let's keep going. I want to get to my one thing here. This is a crazy story. We'll take a little break from new stuff and listen to this. I didn't know this happened to him, and this was a friend of his. Check this out. It was security too.
Wake by an assistant?
Yeah, very, very rude awakening. The quick story is I woke up at 5 thinking, like, it feels like someone's looking at you. And it never really happens, but I look over and someone's in the doorway looking at me like a shadow. And I go, holy shit, jump up. It's still dark out. I'm like dreaming. And he goes, hey, he didn't want me to wake up, obviously. He had his hand behind his back. Hey, the alarm went off. I go, oh, the alarm went off. And I go, oh shit. He goes, yeah, they called me. He starts walking at me and I go, oh, they called? He's 6'2", 300 pounds. I sat up and I go, dude, I didn't even turn on the alarm. And he punched me. And I hit the bed, and then he hit me with a stun gun. Then I rolled off the bed. And I got up, and there's already blood. I was like, and he's like this. And then we fought again. He threw me down. I got my shirt ripped off. I got out again, out front. We fought in the driveway. I hit him enough to where he dropped it, and I got loose. I flew in, slammed the door, and locked it right in time when he hit it. And then I slid under my bed and got my shotgun. And I had to turn. It was like so fast that, and I would have had to shoot him. That was the problem, is like within seconds, this is my buddy for 3 years, and I was gonna have to shoot him. And so I called 911 and kept the gun on the door. And I said, I'll be in the alley. No, they go, wait there. And I go, F it, I'll be in the alley. I was scared to be in the house. So I went in the bathroom and closed the door, and then I thought I was going to pass out because I see myself in the mirror and there's blood. I go, oh shit, the stun gun's wearing off. And so I said, I'm going to shoot you. I yelled out the door, I got to shoot you in the leg, then I'm going to shoot you in the face. And I open the door because I go, I'll pass out. No one even knows I'm in here. So I open up, he's not there. I go along the house. There's like 7 windows because it's a mansion, obviously. And he could be in any window with a rock, with a gun, with a brick. So I got all the way to the back. I get outside, it's just getting light out, and I'm holding my shotgun, and there's a cop car with a gun on me. And he goes, like, put it down. And I put it down, laid it on the ground. He came up to me, and then he took the gun. And then he goes, they're around the front. They're searching the house. I go, oh, well, he's not in the drawers. No need to go in there. So then they couldn't find him. He got away. And then the whole day I had to sit there going, this guy tried to kill me. He wanted my shotgun to shoot me. So that was the whole thing. And then he made suicide calls on the way home and took 100 Tylenol PMs.
Other than that, though, was he a good assistant?
He was cool.
Was he a good, like...
If you throw out his worst day and his best day.
Yeah. Did you, like, call him and fire him? I mean, that would be a funny phone call, just to be like, hey, man, it's David. I don't know if you
Just to
remember
make
morning.
this official.
Yeah. We have you sign something.
You're down to 2 days a week, yeah.
You got tased away?
I'm trying. Hi, Leslie and Billy. I don't know if I greeted you or not. Welcome in. Scott. Metalhead. Very nice to see you. Missy Girls here. Hello. I'm not sure what you guys are discussing. I'm thinking about one of his lives where OG invited him to stay with them during the trial at Heather Fitzgerald. DT acted like it was SG. I'm lost. I'm sorry. That's Meanie's comment there. I'm going to stay out of this discussion and just keep doing my thing. I'll do what I know how to do. All right, this is fun. Oh man, this is an intense show. It turns out I'm like so tense right now. You're too tense. That was a long way down to get pushed over that. I don't remember seeing a bungee that far down before, so I'm sure she was alright, but China has its own rules, right? It looks like China, maybe? Well, I guess. Alright, and so here it is. One of many things that I want to talk about. So these guys are getting front row seats to the inauguration. And here Zuckerberg has changed his whole tune. This, if you're not familiar, Zuckerberg is the guy that stole the software from his college friends and beat them down in submission and created Facebook. He's that crazy alien son of a bitch. And allegedly, and then you have Jeff Bezos, who makes people pee in bottles and pays them as little as possible to destroy their bodies. Witness. And Elon Musk is alright, but so that's not the story. That is one thing. But let me tell you what happened today. Let's see if I can't find it real quick. It's somewhere in here. I'll play this instead. That's pretty nuts. Okay, well, anyway.
I'd like to follow
Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg there has decided to lay off, I believe it was 131,000 employees. Because guess what? And if you're familiar with the younger generation these days, they've all been encouraged and been very interested in learning coding. So now, one of the largest employers of coding has decided to lay off 130,000 employees because they're going to have AI do the coding. And we all love AI so much because ChatGPT is so accurate. So that tells you who he is. Now, Mark Zuckerberg is somebody that stole the idea and the coding to build his empire. So I put nothing beneath him as far as not giving a crap about the regular American citizen that he's now more or less putting out in the street overnight. Just going to let them all go. And lack of compassion, maybe you could say. And, you know, he's never had to work really a day in his life. He stole what he got, and he made billions of dollars off it. And a lot of people want to defend these billionaires. Oh, they don't have money. They have to extract their money by selling their stocks because it's all invested in their businesses. If they sold it all and tried to go liquid, everything would collapse. Boo-hoo. This is the same MO as you had with the men who built America, where they would literally take out the striking workers to keep them in line. If you're not familiar with the mining in the Old West, the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and the Guggenheims and all them owned these mines. The silver mines, gold mines, whatever. And if you were a miner, you were required to live on the campsite in these bunkers. And guess what? They paid you. But guess what you had to do? You had to pay rent on your house, and you had to shop at their grocery store, which was outrageously overpriced. So literally these moguls were paying these people nothing. It was like forced labor. Here we are in 2025, whole new breed, whole new generation, apparently a whole new set of families with this kind of power and money. Same modus operandi.
Complaint on him, please.
For
assault?
Interfering is a physical
You
act.
need to move. You don't know the statute.
So
you need to move.
That is assault.
Come on.
And battery?
Yeah.
I have broken... Bro.
He reached out. Right, but I think, don't you think that's a little...
No, I do not.
Really?
Don't you think he took it a little far? Yeah, let's say I get in your face and I grab your camera and break
That's
it.
not gonna happen.
What do you...
You see the hypocrisy right there? This cop literally smacked the guy's phone out of his hand. And he asked the cop, what if I did that to you? It's not going to happen. But that guy, the cop did it to him. But they're like, come on, it's nothing bad. We can do those kind of things. You can't.
Am I going to go to jail for that? Yes. So why isn't he? So he needs to go to jail.
You're killing me. Oh.
We're the police.
We're the police.
Exactly. So
the only
that's
source
the whole point is you think
truth.
you're better than us and you can get away with it that I can't get away with. This is Hot Springs Police Department.
Hot Springs Police Department.
Trash.
Why would you go and say?
Because that's what you're acting.
Nobody.
I just got assaulted and you're taking his side.
You didn't get assaulted.
I absolutely did.
What is assault? Any unwanted touching.
Yes.
If he had a phone in his hand and this guy knocked it out, 7 officers would jump on him, beat him down, cuff him, and take him and put him under the jail.
Statute.
And he's so insulted that he's asking for charges to be filed against this officer. No, they're untouchable, sovereign citizens. They have a lot of benefits. But what they're going to find out is that they're going to be the ones under the gun, just like us, when they get replaced by robots. Their constitutional rights are going to get trampled. They're not going to be able to drink beers in their backyard at the barbecue anymore because there's going to be a drone flying over their house, filming every single damn thing they do.
I'd like to file a complaint on him, please.
So, yeah, okay. I'm fired up on my desk. Alright, this one's kind of trigger warning.
Right place, right time for the officer. Wrong place, wrong time for the suspect. Let's watch. What you're watching is a suspect outside of a convenience store pull out a gun and actually start to fire rounds off at a victim at his car. But as this is going on, you see this officer sitting at the intersection. He sees what's happening and now he zooms in to go and stop this suspect.
Now, stop. You're going to get shot. I'm in foot pursuit, northbound orange, male black, blue over blue 417. Drop the gun! Drop the gun now!
So the officer utilizes deadly force, stopping the suspect from advancing or doing anything else. But this is the best part. Listen up.
He shot at you? Hey, pull over for me. Please.
Got him down on the ground, took him into custody with no other further issues. The suspect didn't die, and the victim pulls up next to the officer and says, "Man, you just saved my life." Officer tells him to pull over. He says, "Nah, I'm gone." Right place, right time for the officer.
I don't answer questions. I love it. He's like, "I'm out of here. Thanks for doing a great job for once." The police officers do a great job from day to day. They do all kinds of stuff to protect us and help us. It's just that when they go wrong, they're shocked that anybody's pissed off about it or calls them out on it. And that's what really gets me. Here's two guys trying to retrieve their ball from somebody's backyard.
Go, Jay Will.
That was a good plan, right? Distract the dogs. Anyway, sorry. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Oh man, I'm dying to check in on those guys. I'll watch that later. Let's get back to what we were talking about before. And I'm going to play a piece of this. I'm going to get by the pleasantries and we'll get right into what she was talking about. I'm going to pause it as we go along because she reads kind of fast. And she had to go to work. But this is Miss Potts talking about the latest documents that we're doing.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for being here. Karma, how you doing? All right, I'm going to be in another window reading. Mercy Cat, hello, darling. Everybody give it up for Mercy Cat. Mercy Cat's great. We love Mercy Cat. Hearts, hearts, hearts. 100 hearts for Mercy Cat. All right. I'm going to get into another screen here. So if you pop in chat and say hello, I am not ignoring you. I'm just going to be reading.
What's up, Twiz, my brother?
All right, let's get to this. So if everybody remembers correctly, Ann Taylor, June 22nd, 2023, filed her declaration in support of the defendant's third motion to compel. And right off the rip, she lets us know exactly what's up here, right? Okay. Ann C. Taylor, do state and declare. 1. Counsel for Mr. Kohberger filed a specific request for discovery related to the DNA, in this case, titled Defendant's Third Supplemental Request for Discovery. 2. The state filed a specific response to that request. After reviewing the materials provided, the following remains to be discovered. A. Requested 3 profiles uploaded to the DNA database. The state has provided information related to this request for the seized item, the knife sheath only. The defense has requested all DNA profiles, including 3 additional unidentified male DNA profiles developed during the course of law enforcement's investigation.
So it's tragic that not only do they not want to investigate it, they want to hide it from the defense that there's 3 other DNAs that haven't been vetted, and in any other world, in Sheriff Grady Judd world, we would have had all of those college students forensically, voluntarily DNA swabbed, phones looked at, whatever. I don't know what happened with those 9 police cars that were there a few days after at the fraternity. I don't know what they were doing, but that remains another secret. I think that is very important. Whatever was involved there, perhaps threats, perhaps investigations into stuff, and I don't know. It's wild. It's wild. But I believe it was ISP that was at Sigma Chi not long after the tragedy. Here we go.
This information has not been supplied. Now,
Dan the man.
I understand. We all know that many more documents came after this. Things went in front of judge, blah, blah, blah. We're only doing this to refresh our memories. That's all. B, request 6, communications. The state has not provided all emails, text messages, electronic messages, or other messages and conversations regarding biological testing in this investigation.
All right, you guys, I guess you guys started talking about, I saw that Forensic Frenzy was live today, and I can't even sit in on that. And then Drunk Turkeys were live last night or something like that. I have no interest. But what was it that triggered me there? Blana hasn't addressed it, but from what I understand, one of the messages that, and if you're not aware, the messages that Steve G sent to her said something about, we don't like your kind of people. I believe that was Heather that brought that into our attention, my producer, Heather Fitzgerald. Which, when you add it in with all the other alliances that family seems to have, it was a very important part of that video, and I'll go ahead and play that. What are we at? We're at 2:18. Yeah, I'll give you guys a little longer tonight than I thought I would. I was going to try to keep it around 2:30, but let's get Heather's thing and talk about that. I think it's really important. But let's get through the meat of this, just so everybody's on the same page with her.
C, requests 9 and 10. Unexpected results and corrective actions. This request has been partially complied with. However, the response lacks the full scope of the request 6 months before and 6 months after testing related to this investigation. Further, information relating to all lab personnel has not been provided. 3. Part of the third supplemental discovery request was for materials related to genetic genealogy testing. A, the state has objected to this request in its entirety and has filed a motion for protective order. Counsel for Mr. Kohberger requests this court consider the contemporaneous objection to the state's motion and declarations in support of the motion to compel. The requested discovery is properly sought pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 16. This discovery is necessary to the preparation of Mr. Kohberger's defense. 1. Counsel for Mr. Kohberger has reviewed the materials provided in this case regarding the DNA testing, laboratory reports, bench notes, and photographs. Further, experts in the field of genetic genealogy and DNA have consulted and offered information and guidance. The state acknowledges it used genetic genealogy testing in this case, but claims it does not have to produce the records in the specific request for discovery. The defense disagrees. 2. Counsel has learned through consultation with experts and sources referenced below that the use of genetic genealogy databases does not necessarily lead to a single individual as a potential suspect, and that reports of these searches often reference multiple individuals for further investigation and DNA testing. In fact, the state acknowledges such in its motion for protective order when it acknowledges, quote, hundreds of relatives. The testing conducted by a private lab is completely different in nature than the testing done by forensic labs. Genetic genealogy labs do not generate a profile in the same way forensic labs do, and there cannot be a direct comparison between the data obtained in this case by the Idaho State Forensic Crime Lab and the private lab. The tests used by private labs are either SMP or whole genome sequencing. These tests are similar to the methods used by commercial services such as 23andMe and Ancestry. 3. Based upon information from experts in the field, I have learned that once a genetic genealogy profile is created and the testing by the private lab is completed, the profile is uploaded to a database that contains similar data from other individuals. Once the genetic genealogy profile is uploaded, the profile is compared within that database and relatives are identified. 4. It is my understanding that once possible relatives have been identified, their identities are used to construct a family tree to identify possible suspects using public records and, in some instances, contacting individuals for further family information. Okay, let's refresh our memory. Remember when Bicca Barlow, sidebar here, remember when Bicca Barlow was asking for the tree and that it was crucial for the defense to know what other relatives were on the tree that were in the area at the time of the crime. Okay? Because here, number 4 states, it is my understanding that once possible relatives have been identified, their identities are used to construct a family tree to identify possible suspects. Okay? Using public records and, in some instances, contacting individuals for further family information. This process leads to a pool of individuals rather than one specific individual. The possibility of other relatives.
You guys, I got to thank you, first of all, for your dedication to this case. Nobody else is going to thank you like I do. I really appreciate everybody in here, and it's an honor for me to do this show and have such an amazing chat with such good banter and facts that come out in here. And Leslie and Billy, that is crazy that she chewed you out for that. That I seen that photo that Lana was talking about. So I just asked that Jenn chick if she was BK Norton, and she blew up on me. And then you have so many things that trigger them, and they're so knowing. They know so much more than all of us, for whatever reason they think, and you have to wonder if, okay, allegedly, in my opinion, I don't know shit either. I know less than shit. And wouldn't you, if you had something to hide or you were involved in this crime, be all about whoever they brought to the table to get punished for this, that maybe somebody you know or you yourself were involved in? So that's all I'm just going to add to that. I'm having a difficult time trying to absorb what Ms. Potts is saying and keep up with you guys. It's really great, though. Thank you very much for being here.
Who might be similar to Mr. Kohberger is extremely important to the defense in this case. The processes used in this method of identification may be extremely important to Mr. Kohberger's defense. The timing and steps utilized are extremely important to Mr. Kohberger's case investigation and defense. 5. I have reviewed a copy of Idaho State Police announcement dated July 28, 2021, that the Idaho State Police Forensic Services Laboratory secured a grant to fund genetic genealogy testing for unsolved Idaho cases. See attached Exhibit A, contracted with Othram Laboratories in Texas. 6. The U.S. Department of Justice issued its interim policy for forensic genetic genealogical DNA analysis and search in 2019 The policy describes the process that law enforcement engages in during these searches and the results and limitations of the method. The identified individual are one or more genetic associations. That means that the donor of the forensic or reference sample may be related to a service user, emphasis added, which may require additional investigative work and testing. If a suspect is identified, the agency is required to retain all FGG profiles, account information, and data for potential use during prosecution and subsequent judicial proceedings. 7. A new collaborative, National Technology Validation and Implementation Collaborative, was established in 2022. Its purpose is to collaborate and formulate methods and policy for labs and law enforcement to establish forensic investigative genetic genealogy programs. This collaborative contributed to a forensic science journal. The publication includes contributors from Idaho, Rylene Nolan, Idaho State Police Forensic Services, and Alana Minton, Office of the Attorney General. This publication includes reference to the aforementioned U.S. Department of Justice interim policy. Of particular note is the policy of release of information in accordance with rules of discovery. See Exhibit C. 8. I am aware of specific news reports in this case regarding Mr. Kohberger's DNA, as published by the New York Times on June 11, 2023, that, quote, FBI personnel worked with the profile that Othram had produced, spending days building out a family tree that began with distant relatives, end quote. 9. The New York Times sources have more information than the state has disclosed to defense. This New York Times article generated intense media coverage and interest, the scope of which is explained in the True Scope report attached as Exhibit D. 10. In addition, Mr. Kohberger's defense team has discussed the use of statistics in this type of case with experts who have informed me that the manner of identifying Mr. Kohberger via this type of search may have significant impacts on the statistical analysis of the CODIS profile generated by the Idaho State Lab. Without access to the actual genetic genealogy search methods and results, it is impossible for qualified experts to address these issues. Let's read number 10 again. In addition, Mr. Kohberger's defense team has discussed the use of statistics in this case with experts who have informed me that the manner of identifying Mr. Kohberger via this type of search may have significant impacts on the statistical analysis of the CODIS profile generated by the Idaho State Lab. Interesting. 11. Counsel for Mr. Kohberger notes that the state utilized a statistical analysis number to claim a high likelihood of match between the DNA on the sheath and that of Mr. Kohberger. The state, by its own admission, has taken a number of steps to identify Mr. Kohberger as a match. The statistical probability is not an absolute. The size of comparison sample and the nature of the search are important to ascertain conclusion bias. 12. Mr. Kohberger has a right to effective assistance of counsel. He has a right to confront evidence. Counsel must undertake a thorough investigation of all parts of the case. The state.
Okay, right there. The fact that they're willing to go to these lengths to not only hide stuff, but to cover their tracks and create a narrative that this is the guy because, which, please, Lord, let it happen this weekend or coming up week, that this guy who seems to be less guilty than one of Heather Fitzgerald's not innocent, or is innocent, it's, you know what I mean, It is so telling, because look, Sheriff Grady Judd wouldn't allow this shenanigans to go on, and they continue to act like it doesn't exist. But by all means, if Hitler lets this motion get granted, they are going to tear this to pieces. And on the outside looking in, you may have the impression that, oh, it's just another tactic of the defense to free their client. And that's what they are literally reporting it as, even on Newsbreak, on all the articles that we've shown, that it's, oh, the defense wants all the evidence tossed out because of some technicality. Well, I mean, first of all, the Fourth Amendment is a little bit more than a technicality, but also when they've created this Alice in Wonderland IGG, and they took steps like going through the garbage instead of going right to the source and making this big dramatic entrance into his house, and on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It tells you that they don't care, and they won't release him, even though everything is trumped up bullshit.
State brings against Mr. Kohberger. As such, the genetic genealogy investigation and process is necessary for the defense team to do its job. And then she signs it, and we have all of her exhibits here. So everything that she talked about that she disclosed as an exhibit, right? We get it all here. So obviously I will link this. It has the DOJ interim policy, which I believe I've shared before in my community tab, but it lets you know here about the type of, for CODIS, how they do the STR, get it into CODIS. And she's saying that, you know, unfortunately, there can be problems when it comes to the manner in which they identified him, because the use of statistics to have a statistical match, right? It could have significant impacts on the analysis of the CODIS profile that was generated by Idaho State Police.
Yeah, and you know, was it Mowry, for him to claim that he's anyway qualified to do CAST and try to, oh, this is how we got, this is the information that we have on it. We did all the drive testing and everything, literally lying about it, and then for Payne to sign his name for it, it's just like, I mean, if you have a case, present the damn case. But what all we see is trumped up BS, and it's keeping them in there, and because they don't have anybody else that they want to put on the chopping block. Here is the link. Well, I don't even know how to do it. There it is. To this video, and she has the thing if you want to follow up more on that. I want to play Heather's, just so we can talk about it, and that seems to be where a lot of the conversation is right now. But yes, please check out Ms. Potts there. It was a quick read through of the stuff, and thank you, Ms. Potts, for that again. Oh, what did I just close? Did I close the window? What was it? Did I? What was it?
Go, Jay Will.
And there's those guys. Okay, let's take a little break. Oof. This is an intense show. I can't handle it. I had never seen somebody dig their knees into somebody's back. And I didn't know if he was assaulting her here or if he's cracking her neck. But anyway, there's that one. Okay, let's get to Heather here. I think I got a couple more in the other window. Let me just grab those down. Where are they? Thanks for being here, everybody. My name's Kane B. This is The Purge. Welcome in. If it's your first time here, please subscribe and do all the like things and all that YouTube stuff. Thank you very much, everybody, for being in the chat tonight. This is a little story, and I'm just going to blurb it up real quick for you guys. Because it actually turned out cooler than I thought it would be. So let's take a look at this one real quick, and we'll move on. So anyway, yeah, an Olympic kite surfer or whatever saved some women from drowning. I think it was in the UK. I'm not sure. Anyway, all right, and check this out. This is one of those. Let's take a little scroll through an area, and this is Vegas. Kind of cool. I guess I could do like a little something. Since I want to play a little bit. Hey Phil, Gibbs, what's up? Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, you guys got to hear me too. My guitar almost anyway. There we go. And there's the sphere and all that. Hey, there's AR. What are you doing, sticking your head out the window? It's kind of crazy. Treasure Island. I think that AR stays at the Caesar's Palace a lot of the times or whatever. So. Anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. And then, so now, meow, we'll take a look at Miss Heather. And thank you for doing that video, Heather. I thoroughly had to watch it twice already, and I want to watch it again. Let's see where you are here. My thingamajabber. Oh, you're finally not. Oh, there you are. Okay. I got Hard to Handle stuck in my head. Here we go.
We don't know. We don't know what happened to these 4 students at this Idaho college, but we do know they were brutally murdered. We just don't know how, we don't know by whom, and we still don't understand why. Now, there has been a development. The attorney for one of the victims' families, Kaylee Gonsalves, the family believes that she was specifically targeted, that she was dealt with differently by the murderer, that they believe that there's forensic evidence of that, and they want answers. And they had a meeting with a list of questions. And what happened...
Don't you dare leave, Leslie and Billy.
It was very disturbing to them. Let's see how you feel about it. Right now, his attorney, Shannon Gray, represents the family. It's good to have you.
Thanks for having us.
So what was your overall take of what happened at the meeting with authorities?
Well, we started the meeting. When we went in, we had the Latah County prosecutor was there. Chief Fry was there from the Moscow Police Department. the two lead investigators. One of the lead investigators is an Officer Payne. The other one was the Idaho State Police. And we went in with really a theme about accountability and communication. Part of it was the accountability aspect of it is asking a lot of hard questions about why they made the decisions they've made regarding the investigation. And the communication aspect of it is really the poor communication that they've had with the families.
Now, you know this, you're a pro. The obvious pushback is, hey, look, we're doing our best. We're totally overwhelmed. Everybody makes mistakes. We're going to tell you information when we have it. We don't have it. Why doesn't that cut the mustard with you on this?
Well, a lot of the decisions they've made, from the get-go, we still get more and more information every day about mishaps or missteps that I think the investigation has made. One of the questions we asked when we went in was, why not, within the first 24 to 48 hours, release some information about, we're looking for someone that may have missed work, that may have come in with, injuries to their forearms or their hands, things like that. It's a small community. People that have taken a vacation immediately, things like that normal things that may be abnormal to people that live in the community, and getting that out. And they said they didn't do it because of investigative reasons. It's the lack of consistency throughout. You have the Art Betke, the mayor, who says it's a crime of passion from the get-go, and then you have the Latah County prosecutor talking about the targeting aspect, and then the next day Chief Fry walks back on that. You have the coroner who is giving out all types of information, making personal phone calls to the family. And when we were in the meeting, the lead investigator, Officer Payne, didn't even know that the coroner had spoken with the families.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com.
That affidavit, I sat down and spoke with Steve Gonsalves. He's the father of one of the victims, Kaylee Gonsalves. He was defiant, still grieving. Here's what he said it was like to see the suspect in court face to face. All right, so Steve, there's so much of what has to be just upsetting information seeing this arrest affidavit now. My first question is, as always, just how are you and your family doing?
Well, it's a bit of a narrative change. You go from hunting, looking, poking, like you always see these shows where it's somebody that you know, somebody close, somebody you trust. And I had a hard time with that because Kaylee was so kind to people. She was honoring to us, and she was honoring to her brothers, and her sisters. But for all outward appearances, she was a very, very nice person. So we were a little bit puzzled by, we just weren't ready for a bully story or something along those lines. So you read the affidavit, and you just find out that nobody understands exactly why, but he was stalking them. He was hunting them. He was just a person looking for an opportunity, and it just happened to be in that house. And that's hard to take. It's very hard to take. And, I've said this before. Well, I thought maybe I should have put her in some gun safety courses, have done something, but she had her phone right next to her, and she couldn't call 911. So these were just girls that went to sleep that night, and a coward, a hunter that went out and he picked his little opponent that was girls, and that's probably why the house was targeted. It was because there was just girls there, and it ended up being a little bit more of a different challenge, different instance he wasn't prepared for, but I think that's what the affidavit shows, is somebody who was stalking a house.
Goodness, yeah, that's one thing that stood out to me, the idea that his cell phone information showed he had been in the area of the house at least 12 times before. Do you believe Kohberger was stalking your daughter in particular, or just the house itself and all the folks living there?
No, I don't think it was Kaylee in particular. There's other details that'll come out later on.
Do you believe Kohberger was stalking your daughter in particular, or just the house itself and all the folks living there?
No, I don't think it was Kaylee in particular. There's other details that'll come out later on. No, I don't think it was Kaylee in particular. There's other details that'll come out later on. No, I don't think it was Kaylee in particular. There's other details that'll come out later on. But I've always said this to Maddie's mother and her father, that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in the case it does. But to us, none of these girls deserve this. And I don't want a parent to think that, to feel even worse than when you go through this, to think that, oh, my girl said something that caught him off guard, and then these other people are just a part of it. That's a cancer inside you. And I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to try to keep my family from thinking anything like that.
So as far as the Heather cipher goes, what I read from this is that this is extremely important. Whereas they're listing this address for both Steve and his brother, was it Nathan? And she never really, she emphasizes the point, but she doesn't literally come out and say what that means of what this address was used for.
The real problem we have is we have an individual that thought it was okay to, attack other human beings, and that's what I'm going to focus on.
Of course, and then that's got to be just a brutal thought to live with. Was there any sense, have you been told if there was any contact between Kohberger and them prior to this, or was he just surveilling them from afar?
I don't have any pinpoint information that I can share that would say that they were directly in contact. There's definitely rumor mills out there that say that there's going to be more information. We can almost guarantee that there's going to be more details that are going to be brought in. I'd be a little bit surprised that there wasn't a clearer touch point that would suggest that he was interested in one or two of the people more than he was the others. But at this point in time, we have enough in that affidavit to believe that this defendant has a lot to explain.
Yeah, no question. He's, of course, innocent until proven guilty, nature of our justice system. Have investigators shared with you any indication as to a possible motive?
No, we haven't got down that. I know that I'm supposed to be doing an interview with them. Shannon's putting that together and coordinating that. So that may be something that comes up, but they're very careful. And I've told them, don't tell me something that puts me in a situation where I might disclose something that could hurt the case.
Also in the affidavit, it says that the surviving roommate, identified just by the initials DM, says she heard crying coming from one of the rooms, saw a man dressed in black with a mask on walk past her. Do we know why police were not called until several hours after that?
We don't have those details. I do know that she was petrified, and I think people respond a little bit different. I don't want to make her a victim, and people are mean. They'll go after people, and I say don't do it in my name, not my family name. I think she was just scared, very scared, and it's not like Hollywood where everyone behaves like people think they would, and eventually we'll get all the details and we'll understand a little bit more.
I get it.
It's probably going to be like a medical.
Petrified is the right word. I could understand. I do want to ask you before we go, you were in court. You had the chance to see Kohberger, perhaps to look him in the eyes. What were you feeling at that moment?
I was pretty angry. I was pretty heated. I wanted him to look me in the eye. He knows I want him to look him in the eye. So he didn't. He didn't give me that opportunity. When he was back in his home state of Pennsylvania, he did turn around and look for his parents and not me. He didn't give me that. So I think he's understands that I'm not going to see something in his eyes that I want to see, you know. I want to see an innocent man.
So another implied meaning here from Heather, I think, is that he's discussing tarnishing the family name. And what is the legacy of that family name right now?
But I feel like he's scared to look at me in the eyes and start to understand what's about to happen to him.
Yeah.
You know, he picked the wrong family, and not scared of a conflict, and we're not scared. We're not running. We're coming at him, and the defendant has his hands full.
Did you sense anything from him, any emotion in that moment, in that courtroom?
I did. I sensed somebody shocked and scared and not prepared. Like, almost like a sense of, like, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. So his mannerisms, his body language, I'm pretty in tune with certain guys. I've played sports my whole life. I've been in different gyms. I've been in conference rooms with white collar. I can sense confidence, and I did not sense that at all. I sensed somebody who was flaring, scared.
Remember the message that he sent to Lana that they don't like her kind. What would you say that would mean? And what type of person, what kind of beliefs do you have that you would say that to somebody that's trying to solve your daughter's murder?
Been worried.
I'll tell you, Eric, I've been speaking with Steve for a number of weeks now, and you know, I sense, you can see it in there, you sense exhaustion. I mean, of course we would be having lost a child that way, but also this is the first time I sensed really more resolve there, right? I mean, I think what came across to me is, you heard him say there, he picked the wrong family, the suspect picked the wrong family, that there's a path to justice here, right? That he was expressing, but still heartbreak, right? I mean, the way he described it, that this, his view is that this guy was hunting those victims.
And to hear him talk about, you know, and, you know, we know as parents, but to imagine as a parent, to hear him say, you know, my daughter had her phone right there and she couldn't even call 911, how helpless he must feel. And I was also just really struck by his empathy and his grace. And I think, again, just a testament to him as a parent. When you asked him the question that a lot of people have about the roommate who, according to the affidavit, was home, saw who we believe was the suspect, right? But then there were no calls for 8 hours, and him just saying, look, this is not a movie. This is just, you know, you have to try to put yourself in that moment. I think it just, you know, speaks to who he is.
Good for him for saying that. I mean, as he said, petrified. I mean, this is a girl just out of her teenage years who witnessed, just you can imagine the fear in that moment. Anyway, we'll keep on the story. A lot more to come.
Mother and father of Kaylee Gonzalez. They've been patiently waiting by. Their attorney, Shannon Gray, is also standing by as well. And thank you, all of you, for doing this and giving us this opportunity.
You have to think about that Steve G not only wants us to believe that he still thinks that Koberger stalked his and we're all over social media with his daughters, I guess you'd call it, but he's also embellished things like the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth or whatever on top of it and created this whole thing. And I think to this day he still wants us to believe that that's what happened. But where do you have the proof, bro? Allegedly.
Opportunity to touch base with you. I know this has got to have been one of the most difficult days of your life. Steve, let me begin with you. Your reaction after laying eyes on the person accused of doing this horrendous crime against your family.
And just my last question, Christy, I mean, you're such a strong family, and there's been so many twists and turns like that I don't think anyone really expected along the way. I mean, how do you guys manage to hold it together so well?
Oh boy, it's not easy, but I've got him and the rest of the kids and our moms. And, we all hash it out together. We all cry together and just, we've got Shannon to get on the phone, big group calls and figure it out. And we always try to find the silver lining. And, like, this isn't the end. This isn't the end of the road. This is not over.
Somebody pointed out that if there's money involved, I think it was, I forgot, I'm sorry, Tony. What in what end is there not money involved? You have the university, you have the G's, you have so many areas where money is so much important and profit over people, and these are people that can't speak for themselves anymore. And that's why I keep putting Kaylee in my thumbnails as just lingering around waiting for the truth to come out.
This isn't a, because I take it to heart, like that's a win for them, and it's like tick for tack. But, other people in the family have different mentality than that. And, they say, Mom, you gotta look at the bigger picture. You can't, it's not tick for tack. It's not tick for tack. And sometimes I'm kind of simple-minded like that, but I got to talk to the kids and they grounded me and bring me back down, and Steve does and Shannon does. And I just got to keep talking to them and listening to them and.
Sorry to keep interrupting this, but that's another important thing. Calling it a sleeve, it seems like, I don't know if that's a military term or a prison term. If you want to expound on that, Heather, I would appreciate it, because it left me a little in wonders about that.
Have them help me out.
A reminder that there was DNA evidence found on the sleeve underneath the leg. That good luck with that.
Have them help me out.
A reminder that there was DNA evidence found on the sleeve.
Maybe it's a hunting thing. I've never heard it called a sleeve.
Good luck with that.
Documents reveal Brian Kohlberger, the suspect accused of killing 4 Idaho college students, apparently stalked their home at least 12 times before the crime and came face to face with another roommate during the murders.
Cell phone data also shows he apparently returned to the scene just hours later before police were even called.
And our next guest unfortunately lost his daughter, Kaylee, during that attack. His name is Steve Gonzalez, and he also joins us with attorney Shannon Gray. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning. Steve, were you there? Were you there in the courtroom?
I sure were. We expect to have somebody there every day.
What did you think when you saw the suspect, the man that might have killed or is allegedly killed your daughter?
Yeah, when I seen the defendant, I seen somebody that looked like he was overwhelmed. And
when I first saw this interview, I couldn't help but notice
had no idea
his attire,
what was going on.
The buttoned-up shirt to the top. And in a minute, if I remember, I'll pull up what the brown shirts wore during Hitler's time there. Just saying. That's what this reminded me of. Without the tie, buttoned all the way to the top. Very unusual look.
He didn't look as confident as I thought he was going to be based off of his background.
How'd you feel, though?
Oh, my feelings were, I was angry. I'll be honest, I was angry, and I wanted to do, my mind was filled with different things, but I kept my cool and my composure, and there's a right way to do things, and that's what I was thinking about.
Steve, I can't imagine. Also want to get your reaction to this affidavit, which revealed a lot of information we didn't previously know. What of the revelation, what were new to you? What details stick out to you?
The actual location of the sleeve, the knife sleeve. The actual location of the sleeve, the knife sleeve. That we had heard that there was a sleeve, but we didn't know the location. We heard there was a DNA, but there wasn't a hit in the database. So knowing that they had put all those things together in the timeline that they wrote from like the beginning to the last page was very precise, and it painted a picture of, weeks and weeks of investigation and following. And each line gave me a little bit more confidence that we were in a very good position.
Steve, there's so many questions. As great and as informative as that affidavit was, there's still a lot of questions out there. Just curious, did they keep the families involved? And if so, how? Did they say, we're very confident we have a suspect, we think we're getting closer? Did they let you see this timeline before they actually even made the arrest?
No, we filled in parts of the timelines through the time. It was a co-work, but those guys did by far the vast majority of the work. We kind of inserted ourselves, and we said we need to be communicated. We wanted to have meetings. We wanted to be helpful. We had this audience. We had people that were willing to listen and willing to help and provide information that may have been missing. We had this white card to look for. So yeah, they helped, and we worked together. But I didn't have the details like that, and I told them not to give me any details that could accidentally mess up the case.
So did you know for the first time, like we did, that one of the roommates came face to face with him and described him with bushy eyebrows, with a thin build but an athletic build, the way we now know that was written? Did you know that?
I had heard that somebody had seen somebody in a mask. I didn't know if it was something that was like yelled out, and one of the people that was downstairs heard that. I did not know it was one of the people downstairs that actually eyewitnessed this person. And to me, it was just a call. So I wasn't positive that it wasn't just a rumor. So we never mentioned it. The details in the affidavit are kind of shocking. But I'm sure we'll get the more details as time goes on. But yeah, it reads very bizarre.
Back to the shirt thing. I can't think of anything more identifies you as a Neo than that shirt thing, other than a shaved head and a red pair of laces on your Doc Martens. Pretty common.
Shannon, if he is convicted, do you expect the death penalty?
Well, I think Steve and the family have talked about it, and I think it's something that the decision that will be made by all the families on whether or not the death penalty is something that the state pursues on this case. So I don't think it's just a decision for the Gonzalez family. I think it's a decision for all the victims' families, and then, they'll see where it goes from there.
Shannon, you had a chance to look at this affidavit as well. How airtight is the case as you look at it right now?
Well, I thought the affidavit was, a lot of information was in the affidavit, and it sounds like it's a solid case. I was a former prosecutor myself, now a criminal defense attorney. I look at it in both ways. As a prosecution, it looks like it has a really great timeline. There's DNA evidence. There's the evidence from the cell phones and the automobile, and that he was aware of the location coming back and forth. So there's a lot of good information there. And then when I flip over to the defense side, I still have a hard time understanding how they're going to get past the DNA evidence on the sheath. A lot of times in cases that I've defended, sometimes you go in and you sit down and you talk with the defendant and say, hey, this is a great piece of evidence. How do we get past this piece of evidence? And so I think that's one of the most convincing pieces of the affidavit is the DNA evidence. So
sometimes, Steve, you have gut feelings. Did you think when you looked at this guy in the jumpsuit, you were looking at your daughter's killer?
Yeah. I did a research before I came into that courtroom. I was looking for a certain look. I wanted him to meet me eye to eye. He had done that exact same behavior previously when he was in Pennsylvania, and he chose not to, or he was afraid to look back. And for me, that wasn't a good sign.
What about the fact that he smiled?
I didn't see it. I heard about that later. I don't know. It's hard to comment on that.
You know, Steve, we're all parents, and for every parent watching, when you give birth, you hold that baby and you have all these dreams for them, and you go through the hard years, the years of them always being with you and needing your help to get the small things, the cereal, the milk, and all of that. And then you go through the hard teenage years, and then you look forward to their 20s when they're going to get married and they're going to bring grandchildren home, and you've gotten through all that, and you've raised these amazing kids. He robbed that from you and your wife. What goes through your mind when you think about that? Do you think about that when you see him, or do you just want to jump over and do what most dads would want to do and take him out or take him down and, you know, beat him up or whatever it is?
I mean, the physical side is there, but I know that's not realistic. So what I go with is I can make this man feel like he picked the very worst family to do that to. And every time he turns on the TV, he sees us. And every time he thinks something positive is happening in his case, he sees one of us communicating and he realizes he has zero hope. That's what I hope, and that's what I can do. I don't want to worry and think about things that I'm still going to, but those aren't realistic things for me to just put my time and energy into. I might as well stay focused on what I can do, and I want this guy to be sick of seeing me, sick of hearing the cases. New evidence keeps coming in from audience members, just like what you guys have on today, and I want this case to get stronger and stronger to the point where he realizes that he's not going to be on the planet that long.
Steve, you've been an amazing advocate for your daughter, and the courage it takes to be in that courtroom and see him is immense. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, as well as Shannon.
That's the snarkiest comment I think I've heard out of you yet, Miss Potts. He thinks of himself as ex-Ken. Okay, let's finish it up.
Gray, the attorney, good luck as things move forward to January 12th.
Yeah. Does it ever end with Brian Kohberger, the man charged?
All right, let's get to Jenn's video, and then I got to get up early for my interview there, so I'm gonna keep it here. We'll do Jenn's video, and then probably start kicking some bricks. So let's see here, Jenn at Confrontation. Thanks for being here today, Jenn. Thank you, everybody, joining us. I'm Kane B, your host. Thanks for joining us at the Purge. If you're new to the Purge, please do all the things and join us in here. All right. Thank you, everybody. And let's see. This is the one. Okay, let's check it out. World premiere.
Hey, what's up, guys? So today we're taking a look at the Vivid Storm S Pro Plus, a motorized tension fluorizing.
Do you guys remember this car with Montana plates that was guarding the 1122 King Road crime scene? Well, it just dawned on me that there is another Montana connection to this case. The search warrant from Brian's parents' house listed a letter to Brian from Montana. Here's a refresher if you forgot. Pause to read if you want. What's weird is that it doesn't say who the letter is from, it just says from Montana. So does that mean it's a letter from the state of Montana in some sort of official capacity? I really wish we knew more.
A newly unsealed search warrant also reveals that investigators took cuttings from a pillow that had what they described in court documents as reddish-brown stains. In that search warrant, police say the home where the 4 University of Idaho students were killed had a lot of blood from spatter or cast off. They also say they had reason to...
But there was none in his car or apartment. There's no way he cleaned up that good. It's impossible.
Believe that blood spatter transferred to Kohberger's clothing or his shoes. In their request, police say Kohberger could have skin cells or hair from the victims or from their dog that could have transferred to areas of his apartment. And this list is just part of the items that police found in the search warrant. It includes 8 possible hair strands, an animal hair strand, a computer tower, a lab sample collection of a dark red spot, and 2 cuttings from that pillow that had a reddish-brown stain.
This is the entire list of items confiscated from the search of Brian's apartment in Pullman. There were reporters who said Ellie was there for almost 12 hours, and this is all they came up with. There is footage of officers leaving the apartment with boxes of evidence, but all of this evidence would have fit in a shoebox, minus the computer and vacuum canister, of course. For some reason, the court felt the need to seal this search warrant from the public. WSUPD gave a very unusual explanation as to why this needed to be done.
There are some rumblings around. I don't know if you saw the other day, there was a search warrant that was sealed. One of the reasons they gave for the sealing was very curious. There are all kinds of things that are swirling around this, and as any competent, he clearly has a very competent defense lawyer, would take the time to do the parallel investigation they need to do.
What was this squirrely language around the warrant, Mark?
There was some language in the warrant that if unsealed, not only would it compromise the investigation, but that arguably it would threaten law enforcement. That tells me that there's something there that they don't want out yet, or something that they missed, and they're afraid that if it got out, that there would be public, what I call blowback. And I think that that's a legitimate concern. I will tell you, I've seen, I can't tell you how many thousands of warrants that have been sealed. Rarely have I seen one where the reason centered on the threat to law enforcement.
If there was a serious threat to LE, why did they only ask to seal the warrant until March 1st? What changed in that short time period?
Coffindaffer, are you similarly concerned?
Yes, definitely saw that as sort of a very unusual language to use, and particularly since we have the complaint affidavit unsealed, why aren't they unsealing those search warrant affidavits? It's not making a lot of sense, and I agree with Counselor Garagos on this one.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
I wonder why this is mentioned in the court documents in Washington, but not in any of the Idaho docs. Why is there a threat to LE in Pullman, but not Moscow? This really makes me think that Brian was in fact hired at Pullman PD and is being framed because he knows something he shouldn't know. Or maybe WSUPD is involved. WSUPD has a long history of corruption and scandal. The most recent was within the past few weeks. Just do a quick Google search and you'll see for yourself.
There's a suspicion that when they said, we talked about when the police came out and they said, this is the guy, we're 100% certain, there's nobody else that's going to be arrested. I think a lot of that is being called into question now.
Meaning what? There's somebody else, or that it's not?
Meaning potentially that they think there's some other complicity here. There's some other liability here. There's something else going on here that made them necessitate closing or sealing that warrant to the public until March.
Coffindaffer, the idea that...
Last thing I want to point out is that in the search warrant in Washington, the state specifically mentions confirming Brian's name being listed outside his office door and that it's actually still his office. So stop saying he was fired. Gigi and Ashley Banfield and whoever else keeps spreading lies. He only lost his employment as a TA when he got arrested. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.
Wow, great video. Okay, there's one more I'm going to play for you guys, believe it or not. And we'll shut it down after that. One more. Where is it? And you may have already seen this. It's one of the first videos I've actually watched of hers. But it was a message to... Where is it? It came out today. Let's see if it's over here. It was a shorter video. Yeah, this one. The title grabbed me, and so I watched it.
But if enough of us get this information out before the trial, that guy will not even do that. He'll stick with his vehicle identification in the King Road neighborhood of an 11 to 13. That's how public opinion works. That's how getting information out there works. And if you think for a second I mean, for a second. I know a lot of you really believe this. But if you think for a second, after I did that video about moving that trial to the Nez Perce brand new county courthouse, now there may have been some construction issues that changed that move, but the fact that I pointed it out in detail before they made that decision to move that thing there, you can bet that thing was getting moved there. But when you put that stuff out in the public opinion, they think twice about those decisions that they make. And this thing, instead of going to Nez Perce, ended up in Boise, and John Judge bailing from the case. You think that didn't have an impact? You need to think again, folks.
I want to play her reaction to it here, but she's got something I can't play. It's Fonzie jumping over a shark. She says he jumped the shark. It was very interesting what she said, because it's a point I've been trying to make, not against Pav, but necessarily against what the reality in the mainstream, not just the mainstream media is. Is that they tend to go...
You have completely jumped the shark. And there's no coming back now. Okay. You were getting close the other day in your video where you were going off about freedom of speech. Even though you didn't realize that freedom of speech doesn't include defamation. Accusing people of murder without proof. But you've now jumped the shark. The prosecution, the defense, the FBI, they're not watching your videos. They don't give a shit about what some guy from Arkansas thinks, okay? The only reason why your video was on the top of what Ann Taylor was showing during that one hearing was because about derogatory videos about Brian Kohberger. That's right, because at the time that's when you were against Brian. And they were gathering all kinds of footage of people that were potentially contaminating the jury pool. They don't care what your opinion is. You're not important, dude. They're not watching you specifically. And if you think you know what the strategy of the defense or the prosecution is, think again. Because again, they don't give a shit what you think. They're not watching your videos. You think that they're gonna have FBI agent Imel come in and testify to something that could potentially be hurtful to the prosecution? Think again. No. You don't know what their strategy is. You think you do. You think you're so smart, but guess what? You're not. And you know what? It's the job of lawyers and even paralegals to be masters of rhetoric.
All right, I'm going to leave you on that one. I thought it was funny. Who was that? David Bird. That Fonzie was wearing the leather coat, jumping over the shark. He's water skiing in a leather coat with the basic water ski. All right, everybody, thank you again for being here. I'm going to check out and wish me luck tomorrow on my interview. Hopefully that goes good. Typically Unique, thanks for hanging out. Miss Potts, Too Fast, Tony Stevenson, love Tina, love you. Criminal Confidential, thank you for coming in and bringing us that video. And I hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll be doing another one here in another couple days. And then we've got the hearing coming up.